Good evening, all. I'd like to call the Wolfeboro Select Board meeting for Wednesday, July 15, 2026 at 6 p.m. with a Libby Trustees meeting to order. On my far left is Interim Town Manager Barry Muccio. Next to him is John Thurston, Select Board Member Linda Murray. I'm Brian Deshays. I'm the chair tonight, and Select Board Member Dave Senecal. What I'd like to do first tonight is give a tribute to Jim Bean. Jim Bean and his family have lived in Wolfeboro for many, many years. Jim was an active member of our community. He was one of the owners of Wolfeboro Oil. He was very philanthropic. He helped build and maintain the Foss Field Little League field for children. He helped build the Sugar Maple Playground behind the Carpenter School. He allowed a lot of land, of his land, to be used for cross-country skiing and was instrumental in building the new loop of snowmaking for cross-country, and he maintained the cross-country trails, cross-country ski trails in Sewell Woods and on Abernathy. So I'd like to have a 1-minute moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Anybody who would like to, can you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? John, you want to start us?
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first piece of business is consideration of minutes. So for June 25th, 2026, does the board have any changes for the minutes?
Would you like a motion?
So I do have one change. On page 2 of the minutes, there's a motion. It's down about 10 lines, and it was by myself, Mr. Deshays, to transfer the conservation easement deed from the Conservation Commission to the Wentworth Watershed Association. It was seconded by Mrs. Murray. We never voted on that motion. We need to make sure that when we get into a discussion about something, we either cancel out motions or we answer the motions with a vote. So I would like to have this amended to say that the motion was never voted on.
I have no problem.
Okay.
Do you want a motion now?
Yes, could I have a motion?
I make a motion to amend the June 25th minutes and accept them as amended.
Second.
Seeing we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we have the June 29th special meeting minutes. Do we have any changes or corrections? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the June 29th minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion by Linda and a second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
We have a third set of minutes, the minutes for July 1st, 2026. Do we have any corrections or amendments?
July 1st.
I thought we had something from Paul on those.
Yes, we do.
I don't have any other than
Okay, so
talking about what he's talking about.
yeah, so we have a a letter from our chair to be read into the record. He couldn't make it to the meeting tonight. And it says, "Dear board members, I ask that the board rescind the motion to include the redacted Eurofins report provided by Mr. Brown at the July 1st Select Board meeting. Mr. Brown, in an earlier comment that evening, suggested that concealment of information was ongoing regarding the town parking lot. Yet later in the meeting, he asked us to place a redacted report from Eurofins into the record. Our board unanimously voted to accept the redacted report, but upon reflection, we actually agreed to conceal information from the public by allowing a third party to redact information. We have no idea why the report was redacted, nor do we know what was concealed. In my opinion, this is not proper governance. Mr. Brown should be expected to provide an unredacted report to us. The public deserves a complete record, no exceptions, no alterations. At present, I am not able to attend the 15th session. I request that my note and motion be read aloud. I also request that my note be added to the minutes. Motion. Rescind motion made by John Thurston at the 7/1/26 Select Board meeting accepting a redacted Eurofins report offered by Mr. Derek Brown until such time as a fully unredacted report is provided from Eurofins with certification by Eurofins that the report in its entirety has not been altered in any way. Paul is also requesting a roll call vote. So, Hetz's motion, does anybody have a second?
I'll second.
Dave seconds it. So the only other thing that I would add to it is I've done a little digging into 91A:5, and something that's redacted by the public, if a 91A request is put forward, their name has to be given. Their personal information doesn't, but their name has to be given. So whoever did that report and has it redacted, their name would have to be made public if it goes on to our record. And I would need to confirm that to make sure that I'm reading the law right with our town attorney. So at this point, we can either vote to not place it on the ballot until it is unredacted, or we can make another motion that would push it to town council before it's put on to our record. So we're going to have to start with the first from Paul. Go ahead, Linda.
Yeah, my feeling is I would like to table this until the next meeting. I would like him here to explain it to the people, because he's the one asking that it be removed. I also was wondering whether we could just put a note down at the bottom of the page just saying, please note that the report is redacted, so it's clear to the public when they read it.
So there's two things here. The first thing is, in order for Mr. O'Brien to put a motion forward, Mr. O'Brien has to be here to put the motion forward in the Roberts Rules of Order, and he's not here to do that. Secondly, what we're doing is we're disregarding the safety of our citizens in the downtown docks area. If this report showed that there was E. coli and fecal matter in the puddle area, and there were kids walking around in it, and from the report that Hot Dog Bob gave me, there were people washing their face in the water, shouldn't we be alerting the public? I know it's pumped down now, but the water's still going into Wolfeboro Bay, because I was down there the other day. So to me, the board is being careless in their sense of urgency by not acting on the document. It says a location, it gave the test results, and the public should be warned of the detriment that that test is giving us.
So I think that the board is taking the town dock area seriously. We've had DES out there. There's been testing done, and there's continuing to be testing done. Another concern I have is sampling and testing has to be done a certain way. Somebody told me that there is a video of the sampling that was done. That hasn't been brought forward to us. Another thing that I know is that when a sample is taken, it has to be refrigerated immediately and delivered within 2 hours to the lab, or else E. coli levels spike. And a third thing is, without the video testing, nobody knows where the sample really came from. Do you have video recording of it?
I don't, but you made a comment that we've been doing testings, but we have no results from any other testing.
No, we have results from when we tested the pipes earlier.
Well,
And
we're talking about...
what DES has said is DES has said to us that if we see an issue with a drain, they have pointed to us that we can test these, and if we get a positive result, then we can address them. As far as I know, we haven't gotten any other positive results.
Yeah, I think we got, and John, you got it also, a reply from our Public Works Director, who has put in writing an outline of his meeting with DES down there, and their recommendation was to not test the puddle because all puddles have E. coli. And I was concerned, so I have an engineer who I was on a subcommittee with, and I asked the same question, and he said the same thing. Tires go through all sorts of ways. E. coli gets in a puddle, and you should not test for E. coli because it's going to be high, because something's dropped in there, the sun, it's shallow, it heats up, and it multiplies quickly. So I took the time to ask. I think the public needs to know. That's on our town website. Barry, did you put some up here on the stage?
I did. I handed them out to most folks
He handed them
here,
out to
but
the audience.
Oh, he did hand them out. So there's the response from the meeting of DES, and I think our state agency is something, we should follow their recommendation.
I honestly don't believe that the state has weighed in fully by a sniff test or whatever type of test that they might have performed. Again, and where we are right now, there's a lot of people down there. And again, if it's anything, then we should be alerting the public.
So I'll say you're probably correct. We can rescind the motion because
I asked to table it until,
yeah, we can.
I'm with
we
you. I
will-
think Paul
yeah.
needs to be here before we,
So if we had a unredacted copy, what would be the course of action?
Well, I was told there was a video of somebody taking the sample. I don't know if that's true or not. But I also don't know where the sample was taken from. I don't know who took it, and I don't know, was it delivered to the laboratory under the correct parameters? Because if you take water out of a puddle, and first of all, we shouldn't be taking water out of a puddle because it's going to come out positive anyways. But if we took water from anywhere and somebody left it for 4 hours sitting somewhere, bacteria and E. coli levels go up drastically. Then it gets to a lab and it's not a correct reading. These samples are not like water quality tests that you do out of your tap water. Those can be mailed and they can ship their sanitary water. Water that has contaminants in it has to be refrigerated, delivered within 2 hours, or else you don't have a valid sample. So that's one. And two, we don't know where the sample came from.
So if the supposed video shows where the sample has come from and the name that is on the redacted copy is revealed, wouldn't you look at that person and say, does this person have a valid concern and should we take it seriously?
I would say it's a valid concern, but are they certified to take samples? Was it delivered, refrigerated and delivered in the proper time frame? It
Okay.
has to be done right, or else it's not scientific data.
So if those questions are answered, would that be sufficient?
Well, it might satisfy me. It would have to satisfy the whole board.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a motion from Linda.
No, we have a motion from
From
you two to do it, right? To go on to his, yeah.
Unless Dave pulls his second.
I'll pull my second off of
So
it
he's pulled off,
for yours.
okay? And so
I-
Linda has a motion.
I would make a motion that we table Paul's request until the next meeting when he's present so he can speak to it.
I'll second that.
He wants a roll call vote.
Yeah. So we don't need a roll call because this is our motion.
Okay,
So all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. So we will table that and we will take it up with Paul when Paul comes back later.
I'll make a motion to table the July 1st minutes also, because we don't know if we're going to amend them.
I'll second that. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so those have been tabled also. Okay. So now, we have public input, 3 minutes per resident, 15 minutes in total.
Apologize for not getting these to you soon.
The reason I was late in providing these copies is because I had a printer problem. I'm going to read my statement. I, Charlene A. Seibel of Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, do hereby notify the town of Wolfeboro that I do not consent to my Wolfeboro property taxes, Wolfeboro vehicle registration fees, Wolfeboro transfer station fees, etc., being used to pay for any hourly wages, retainers, salaries, and/or stipends of any town of Wolfeboro employee, attorney, and/or select board member who engages in but not limited to the following: ignoring, delaying, and/or otherwise stonewalling New Hampshire RSA 91A requests, ignoring the results of official town votes on warrant articles, wasting taxpayer dollars on frivolous lawsuits, seizing and holding for ransom Wolfeboro citizens' private property in clear retaliation against them, doxing Wolfeboro citizens who dare to push back against illegal and/or unethical actions, lying to Wolfeboro citizens, weaponizing the Wolfeboro Police Department against Wolfeboro citizens who dare to push back against illegal and/or unethical actions, following illegal and/or unethical orders to engage in the intimidation of Wolfeboro citizens who dare to push back against illegal and/or unethical actions. I respectfully request that Ms. Jorrit include my statement in its entirety in her minutes of this select board meeting. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion, we submit this into the minutes.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Dave, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's
Suzanne
4.
Ryan. I'd like to address the report that you were talking about. It's like we're dealing with FBI and the CIA about who did it, where they did it, when they did it, how they did it. I did it. I have the report here, unredacted. The only thing that I ask is you take my phone number and my email address off it. I don't care if my street name is there, and I don't care if my name is there. I'm one that speaks up in this town, and I'm not ashamed or afraid to. I would say that people are allowed to redact and submit information to you, and once you take that to your table as a board, it becomes public information, redacted or not. You guys just work through doing your 91A. You better look a little deeper into it, because that is public information. Now, the minutes are your minutes, and you can do them as you wish. And you can say we don't want to attach it to the minutes. but you cannot displace it from public record. It has to be available to the public. You could put a note at the bottom of the minutes that say this can be found in Mr. Muccio's office under analysis. But you cannot make it go away, contrary to what one of the selectmen said to a person during the 4th of July parade. It doesn't go away, it can't go away, and by the way, here's another $80. Do the test yourself, look at the video.
We can't take your money.
To do it
We
again, do it again.
we can't take your money. We can't take your money.
Sebastian Tordonato. I have two things I want to discuss. One is that report. You said you heard there was a video? It is. It's on my phone. I took it.
Okay.
You want to know if the sample was taken correctly? Let me assure you it was. And it was refrigerated. And it was delivered within an hour and a half of taking the sample. Okay? That report is valid. It is absolutely valid. You guys want to ignore it, go ahead. That's number one. Number two, what you did to this man is reprehensible and unforgivable. Have you all lost your collective minds? I'm a little bit aware of where that place is. Anybody I talk to says there's no trespassing signs up there. No signs, no restrictions, nothing. How does that constitute trespass, criminal trespass? I'd like to see that proven in a court of law, because it's not going to happen. And all I've got to say is it is reprehensible what you're doing to him because you don't like the outcome of what he found. And it's reprehensible what you're doing to her because you didn't like the outcome of the results that they found. I thought to run for this board last time. I was defeated by Linda and Dave. I graciously accepted my defeat. I'm thinking about running again. I'm not sure I want to jump into this cesspool of vipers. If I'm going to be arrested for being on the board and speaking my mind, I'm not sure that that's where I want to go. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Jeff Owings. I don't know if most of you know it or not, but I've been a statistician for the last 30 years. Statistician for the last 30 years. I collect samples, I collect data across the nation, across the world. I'm the one that collected this data on the dock. I'm the one who sterilized the containers that I used. I'm the one that put fresh ice in it to keep it down. I'm the one that got it to Concord on time, and they said it was all good. We talked to them. I visited the site 3 or 4 times before I took the data. That's what a good data collector does. He knows what the water levels are. He knows what the flow is. I've documented those. I've written up my methodology. You guys didn't ask for it. I was all ready to give it last week, but you didn't want it. So that's where we are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.
Could someone make sure that Ms. Brenda Jordan gets this copy? Could someone please make sure that this particular copy makes it to Ms. Brenda Jorrit so that it's included in the minutes? Hannah Seibel, Wolfeboro. It is my understanding that as of the end of day yesterday, 14 July 2026, the town of Wolfeboro is in unlawful non-compliance with my NHRSA 91-A request for information filed on 7 July 2026 via email sent at 16:09, as I have yet to receive any response, even an acknowledgement of receipt. I have brought with me today copies of the body of my email request, as well as other questions I wish to present to the board and the general public today. Forgive me for not getting you these paper copies sooner, as I have experienced printer trouble. Within said request, I asked for the following information strictly regarding animal trapping in the town of Wolfeboro Water Reservoir, Upper Beach Pond on Beach Pond Road, valid any time between 01 January to 31 December 2026. Any and all valid signed contracts. Any and all valid signed terms of agreement. Any and all valid signed memorandum/memoranda of understanding. Any and all valid invoices. Any and all names of entities/persons involved. Any and all valid credentials of persons involved. Any and all valid New Hampshire game and fish and game licenses held by any and all persons involved. Any and all written correspondences, parentheses, including but not limited to emails, memos, and text messages, end parentheses, between Town of Wolfeboro Director of Public Works Steve Randall and any other entities/persons involved. On Saturday, the 4th of July, 2026, our nation's 250th celebration of its severed ties from a tyrannical oligarchy, Wolfeboro Select Board member Mr. Brian DeShays posted a screenshot on a Wolfeboro Community Facebook group of himself stating that, and I quote, "Live trapping and relocating beavers is generally not recommended, and in many states, including New Hampshire, it is illegal without special permits," end quote. My first question, what special licenses and or permits are required in New Hampshire to legally set, monitor, maintain, and or use beaver traps near, around, and or in town water reservoirs? As of 09 June 2026, are all Town of Wolfeboro employees who have executed the setting, monitoring, maintaining, and or usage of the beaver traps previously found near, around, and or in the Town of Wolfeboro water reservoir active and valid carriers of said New Hampshire licenses and or permits? As of 09 June 2026, are all Town of Wolfeboro employees who have executed the trapping and killing of indigenous snapping turtles during their protected nesting seasons of 15 May to 15 July, persons who hold current valid nuisance wildlife control operator and or level 2 wildlife control operator licenses or permits? If so, what are their names and what current valid licenses do they hold as of 09 June 2026? Is it the Town of Wolfeboro's position that an elected official can be charged with a misdemeanor offense of criminal trespassing on unposted land of a public water supply while attempting to carry out their legal duties as an elected official, especially after the same elected official had a month prior asked questions about and had not received an answer from either Mr. Steve Randall or Mr. Barry Muccio regarding whether the town's abnormally low water reservoir levels could be due to capacity and or containment issues? Is it the Town of Wolfeboro's position that elected officials can dox their constituents online when said constituents have the courage to speak up against legally questionable town actions? I wonder if the constituent who got doxed by Mr. DeShays on a Wolfeboro Community Facebook group would be interested in filing a formal complaint. Ms. Jorrit and members of the board, I publicly and respectfully request that both of the documents that I have passed out among you be included in their entirety in this meeting's minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion, we submit these into the record.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, seeing public input is done, we're going on to public hearings. The Wolfeboro Select Board to hold a public hearing on Wednesday, July 15, 2026 at approximately 6 p.m. at the Great Hall in Wolfeboro Town Hall for the acceptance of unanticipated funds for the amount awarded that is over $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95B relative to the purchase of 4 sets of diving gear for the fire department public safety dive team. This equipment will be purchased from the distributor by Mark O'Connell Foundation for Lake Winnipesaukee Safety, who will donate the equipment valued at $24,418.82 to the fire department. Nate Nichols donated equipment, no funding pass-through.
Good evening. Nate Nichols, Deputy Fire Chief, Wolfeboro Fire. I will just take a quick minute, I know we've got a busy night, to give you some history. Around 2020, the Wolfeboro Fire Department started to address a serious lack of resources and training concerning water-related events. The state of New Hampshire offers no emergency training on still water rescues or events. They offer a lot of training on swift water, but you can't go to the New Hampshire Fire Academy and learn how to deal with boat accidents or people in the water or drownings or any of that stuff. So around that time, we sent 2 members to a 4-day course in Maine to become certified as International Water Rescue Technicians. Those members have since returned to the department and have conducted classes to get members trained as water rescue techs. This is especially important as our town beaches are rarely guarded, and our response area, our responsibility includes large areas of water, obviously. Concurrently, under direction from then Chief Scansey, we started a public safety dive rescue team. Members first became certified as recreational open water divers. At the time, there was really no budget to stand this team up. Members purchased all of their equipment and gear out of their own pocket, and that has been ongoing since 2020. That gear includes wetsuits, bottles, buoyancy control devices, and more. Since that time, we've enhanced our training dramatically. We have become certified as public safety rescue divers. This has been done with minimal financial support from the town. It should be noted there are currently no dive rescue teams on Lake Winnipesaukee. The reason we need this gear is not having identical gear is a safety concern for divers. Muscle memory allows divers to rescue each other in a diver emergency. We don't have currently gear that is designed specifically for dive rescue operations. It's all recreational gear. There are some technical specs with this gear that the foundation is going to buy for us that allow us to do our jobs safely and more efficiently. The Mark O'Connell Foundation for Lake Winnipesaukee Safety is the foundation that has stepped up and agreed to buy this gear for us. Their goal is to raise funds to help support the safety and rescue teams that keep users safe while they enjoy the lake. In the past, they have purchased a hovercraft for Wolfeboro Fire, hands-free communication gear for New Hampshire Fish and Game, a trailer for Tuftonboro, drones for Alton, and a thermal imaging camera for Meredith Fire. It should be noted that one of our firefighters, Lucas Jessman, who is a commercial diver, has spearheaded this. I want to thank him for all his hard work he's done to get us to this point. Happy to answer any questions and hope for your support.
Board, do we have any questions?
I don't,
Do we have a motion?
well, did we open it to the public?
Oh.
Isn't this a public hearing?
Yeah, it's a public hearing. We have to open up to the public. Does the public have any questions or concerns? Seeing none? Okay. Board, do we have a motion?
So I have a question for Mr. Nichols. So in the past, if you had an incident, what did you do?
Prior to 2020,
Or prior to today? I mean, in the past, what have you done if you didn't have any gear?
so we are not officially stood up yet as a dive rescue team. We have worked on getting our training up to speed. To be a true team, it requires people on the land who are just as well trained as the divers. We're at the point now where we are ready to go with our training. It's just we don't want to start doing these operations and putting ourselves up there if we're not geared up correctly to do it.
So would the town be responsible for training you to use this equipment?
DC Aquatics, the shop that is providing the gear, has offered to let us go down and use their training pool to become familiar with the equipment. They're going to give us a couple classes. We chose them. They have solid relationship with other dive teams around the state. They're also the shop for Fish and Game, I believe.
So would that be on your free time or during enrolled time?
Members who are not currently on duty that go down to do that training would be paid overtime.
All set, thank you.
So, Board, do we have a motion?
I'll move to accept the grant of $24,418.82 for the fire department to get dive equipment.
Second.
Second. So I have a motion by Linda, a second by Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, temporary event permits. Our first temporary event permit is for Brewster Academy to host a cross-country race on September 30th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the Abenaki Trails, 390 Pine Hill Road, permit number 202648. I believe there is no one that is here for this permit. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to speak on this? Seeing none, the board members, do we have any concerns? Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion that we consider the temporary event permit for Brewster Academy to host a cross-country race September 30th, 2026 from 10 a.m., 6 p.m. at Abenaki Trails, 390 Pine Hill Road, permit 2026-48.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have another temporary event permit. It is for Kingswood to have a cross-country race. So the Wolfeboro Select Board will consider a temporary event permit for Kingswood Regional High School to host a cross-country race on September 16, 2026 from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the Abenaki Trails, 390 Pine Hill Road, permit number 202649. I also believe that there's no one present at this time, and we do have an updated insurance certificate coming. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this? Seeing none, board members, do we have any questions or concerns?
I just want to point out to the public, we no longer request the public to come and speak to their events. This is one of the ways we try to speed up the meeting, so it's not unusual for somebody not to be here.
So are we waiting for the insurance certificate before we approve it, or contingent?
Contingent.
I
So,
believe it has been updated. Am I correct with this one? Just so we can move it.
Kingswood has their business administrator retired. They have the same insurance we do. They just gave the incorrect form, but I have a task on my calendar when they get a new employee just to make sure they provide the correct one.
can I get a motion?
I'll move the Kingswood Regional High School to host a cross-country race September 16th, 2026, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the Abenaki Trails, 390 Pine Hill Road, permit 202649.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now moving on to the bulk vote. We have weekly manifests, July 3rd, 2026, of $667,161.72. We have July 10, 2026, of $510,792.67. We have federal, state, forest land update and reimbursements. The Governor Wentworth Historical Site, which is 80 acres, it's $1,420,100, and the Wentworth State Park, which is 44.9 acres, it's $137,700. We have property tax refund abatements. We have Joe Island, 2025, number 24, tax map 193, lot 17 was denied at $0. One Grant Island, 2025-25, tax map 251, lot 1 was $2,852.99. Min Island, 2025, number 30, tax map 193, lot 16, denied $0. Silver Street, 2025, number 55, tax map 190, lot 114, $153.27. 467 Sewell Road, tax map 229, lot 3, $2,792.62. Governor Wentworth Highway, 2025, number 90, tax map 166, lot 9, denied $0. Governor Wentworth Highway, 2025, number 91, tax map 161, lot 11, $237.16. One Triggs Island, 2025, number 94, tax map 165, Lot 9, $1,555.71. 15 River Street, 2025, number 101, tax map 264, lot
Brian?
18.
We have a change on that
Yeah.
one to, it should be, the amount is You got that? Okay,
$585.28.
okay, just
We
want to
have a
make sure.
correction, thank you.
Okay,
1 Loon Island is 2025, number 106, tax map 193, lot 3, was denied, $0. Wall Island, 2025, number 108, tax map 193, lot 19, denied, $0. 2 Mink Island, 2025, number 116, tax map 179, lot 2, $2,121.61. There's a correction, I made a mistake. It's 5 Sister Island, 2025, number 107, tax map 193, lot 15 is $3,624.40. And 15 River Street, 2025, number 118, tax map 204, lot 87, was $456.90. We have property tax credit exemption, 6 Clow Road, tax map 217, lot 160, 5 Kenyon Drive, tax map 177, block 10, lot 62, 219 Middleton Road, tax map 271, lot 20. And we have some board and committee appointments. We have the Lakes Region Planning Commission. We needed to move to adjust terms.
is that part of the bulk?
Is that part of the vote?
No, it's not.
Nope, that's different.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the bulk vote A through D.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Correct. Now we have committee appointments. We have the Lakes Region Planning Commission. We needed to move to adjust terms. Steve Webster's term now expires April 20th, 2028. And, hold on. Let me double check this. So Steve Webster's term expires April 2028. It's because we gave Mr. Hinderleiter a different term, we swapped the two. Does the board have any questions? Can I get a motion?
Brian, did you want to read that I took the liberty to assign the full 4-year term to Jeffrey, therefore his term will run from June 3rd, 2026 to June 3rd, 2030. I assigned Steve the shorter term, which will run from June 3rd, 2026 to April 20,
That's what's on here.
2028.
Thank you, John. Is that a motion?
That is.
Second?
Second.
Second by Dave and Linda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We also have, for the Wolfeboro Public Library, alternate trustees, Diane Balduck as an alternate. Term expires July 31st, 2027. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Diane Bodak, alternate to the Wolfeboro Public Library, term expiring July 31st, 2027.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So we have, for the Wolfeboro Public Library alternate trustees, we have Sandra Whittier, alternate, term expires July 31st, 2027. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Sandra Whittier, alternate to the Wolfeboro Public Library, term expires July 31st, 2027.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so now we're on to new business. So we have the Winnipesaukee Drive petition to lay out town roads. Barry's going to speak on this.
Yeah, Brian, this one goes back a bit. Winnipesaukee Drive submitted a petition to the town a few months back to look at basically the town taking over the road from a private road, which it currently is, to a town public road, and following our petition process, which we have a formal process. Sort of step one in the process is for staff members to go out and do an evaluation of the road, the surroundings, note some of our obvious concerns, things that I guess as a board you would have to evaluate if they can be overcome, and if you would like to continue on with the process of having a public hearing to formally take the road. So there's a number of things to do. This initial assessment we have completed, and I think I provided you with our notes from 3 staff members, Public Works, Town Planner, and myself, acting as interim town manager, but also as the director of the electric department, because it's private utilities out there, which is a bit of a strange caveat. Now, one of the questions I asked regarding the electrical is, we have no interest in owning a roadway that has private electrical under it. We do not want to accept the underground over there. It's already at an age where I would have concerns. So I did speak with town council. There is a way to do that. We wouldn't necessarily as the town own the roadway, but we could be granted an easement for the roadway simply for the traveled way. The issue with that becomes knowing that the electrical is of an age that's going to need some work, knowing that it's underneath the pavement currently in several places, that now the road that we may or may not accept would have to be cut, dug up, repaired, patched, if the electrical ever failed, which it's going to happen. It happens. Stuff over 40 years old. So it's sort of a catch-22. You could accept the road. One of the things I would recommend is would have to come up with some sort of an escrow account, a bond of some sort that the residents over there would have to fund to ensure that whatever damages happened to the utilities and thus the traveled roadway, they would have to cover those costs. So it's not to say it can't happen. It's just there's some conditions to that. So with that, I would entertain questions. Do we have anybody here from Winnipesaukee Estate? Here we go. Is it Ed? Ed, if you'd like to get up and speak on your behalf, I'd be more than welcome to entertain you.
Please introduce yourself and sign in too.
I've talked to you on the phone, but I've never met you in person, so nice to meet you.
We met in your office.
Oh, that was a while ago. There you go.
You were showing me some samples of some of the past
you are right.
qualities that you found in your efforts.
Yep.
My name is Ed Geff. I'm one of the petitioners for Winnipesaukee Drive.
Could you sign in too, please?
No, I did not.
Especially in new face, it helps our recording secretary.
Sure. So I'm here primarily, I guess, to answer any questions. I have a copy of the initial findings that the 3 people who went to inspect the road, some of their concerns. I sort of drafted out some potential responses for you, but really I'm here more to answer questions than to present. So I know your primary concern is with the electric. I completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'm not sure I'm in complete agreement on is the location. I don't have any blueprints or any plans, but what previous people have told me was that primarily it runs not under the pavement, but on the side of the road. Of course, it has to traverse to get to the houses on the different sides, but the primary conduit, I guess you call it, is I believe just off the paved area. When that road was redone last year, I mean, they went completely down to gravel, way down deep, and relayed everything from the ground up. and there were no utilities other than, again, what trussed from one side to the other for houses.
So that becomes one of my concerns. I guess we don't have as-built of the electrical in there, so
Well,
it's...
We don't have them at this time. The original development, as you mentioned, was 40 years ago, and that agency that developed it, B&H Development, they're long gone. Whatever paperwork they may have had, the only thing that exists today is whatever was filed by them with the town. I spent some time in the planning office last year. They helped me very generously digging through some of the archives, and we found a lot of blueprints and drawings relative to the original development. Now, I don't know if all those are sort of or if any of them are post as-built plans. There may be some as-built that might have been done. Whatever was, I'm sure the developer only did what was required. So if it was required at that time for them to provide as-built after everything was done, because obviously what they originally planned and what they end up with can sometimes change. Things happen. So if they were required to have provided as-built after the fact, then maybe they're here. But basically, whatever information is available today is whatever's here on file with the town already.
Unfortunately, I haven't ever been able to find anything on that development in regards
well, this
to...
was last year when
Well,
Terry
the
was still
electrical,
there.
I mean.
And they found, it was one of these boxes, with the dust, and it was like big, tablecloth size blueprints. But it was there. The information was there.
On the electrical? The electricals, that was my realm, and that's
Yeah.
what we could never find. We found a lot of stuff, but...
Some of the drawings had some notations along the side of the road indicating that there was like a box, a junction box, but nothing that necessarily maps out the electrical entirely.
So I guess where we stand is based on your review of our initial assessment. Do you see it a valid point as the board to move forward in the process? That's not to say you're approving or denying at this point, but...
Yeah, my concern is that we be consistent with all developments. I know we had the orchards, and they had to put theirs up. We've got a policy, and it's important for us to be consistent. And that's my concern here. I'll say this. The people in Winnipesaukee Estates have lived with one of the worst roads I've ever seen for a long period of time. So I feel your pain, and I'm glad you have a nice road at this point. But I think we've got to be fair and equal to all, and this electrical, I think, is an issue. And as I recall, the town planner wanted to see it as built. We also need to know that the road is built where it was supposed to be built, and I don't know if we know that. So I think some of those, and I think we need to do a title search too, as I recall.
We would have to go through that whole process, but prior to getting into that, those come sort of further in the process based on the initial evaluation. That would be a decision that would come later. It's not to say we would find things that are unsurmountable to overcome in the next phase, but again,
I think what I'd like to see is this information from our department heads overlaid to what our policy is, and see where the deficiencies are in our policy. So then we would know exactly what they would have to do to bring it up to meet the policy.
So that policy is in the packet, in the full packet submitted?
Yeah, I'd like to see a summary of basically bullet points. We need to do this, and this to meet our policy.
I think that's pretty well established, yeah. It's available. It's in that packet.
If we go with this new easement type of taking a road, is this a policy and a way we want to accept other roads?
See, I think that would be
We haven't
subject
done that
to
in the past.
each scenario, but that would be one way that we could maintain the road and the maintenance of the road without owning the underlying utilities. Because we had received prior legal advice 15 years ago that if we took a road We took everything. We took water, sewer, electrical.
I understand.
Fortunately, there's no water sewer up there, just electrical. But now this easement,
And I'm saying that, to me, is the question. What does that entail? What does that do to us as a town if we take it in terms of an easement? And if we do it here, is this a policy or a way we're willing to accept other roads? Because to me, that's what we're starting in.
that's a valid concern, how you set a precedent if you move forward in that way to accommodate, well, ultimately, what's the long-term cost?
And
My
so-
concern is simply, we take over a road in very nice shape at the moment.
Absolutely.
We know the electrical crosses it in several places. Eventually, it's going to have to be cut. Who's going to pay for that? I don't want to see the town have to take over those responsibilities. You know, so those are all little things that need to be worked out, and they're not little, actually. They're pretty large items, but
The easement sounds a lot like an emergency lane.
Oh, don't go there.
so
It does.
it would be
does.
like a simple deed, what they call them, where each lot owner is going to own to the center line of the road, yet we have a traveled way easement. And that's how it was explained to me by town council.
And it's very similar, because an emergency lane just does maintenance and plowing. That's all an
But
emergency lane
this,
does.
this is a very different thing. This is an easement.
Yeah.
They're two separate categories, so I don't want to get confused. I know you,
So Barry, if you say that the electrical is nearing its end of its useful life, and you know it's not going to last, do we have a plan going forward for it to last 40 new years?
We don't. It's not ours, John. Not
But
ours.
what you just said, though, if we take, the potential here is, if we take the road over and it skirts up against the road, then the road could be affected, but at the same time, aren't you looking to ensure the future residents and the future people that are gonna buy those lots on that road?
So one of the things most of it's built out now, believe it or not. Have you been down there? Ever since the road got fixed,
private.
It's a hot place. I would never agree to take over the electrical, never. Much like the orchards, because it's underground now, if they opted to go with an overhead system, we would assist them in that process. We're doing the same thing in the orchards, almost identical,
Okay.
about a mile around. And so we have a policy to do that. I just don't know how popular over poles wires is going to be over there versus the underground that's there now. We just don't want to get into digging up the roadway. I mean, underground is going to be over $1 million to replace over there, where we can probably do it as an overhead for a third of that.
Linda?
I see as moving forward, one of the options is for them to do overhead, to get that risk away from the town of having to dig up the road and do what the orchards is going to do, is put them above ground, and then I see us being able to move forward in our regular plan. I'm a little cautious about setting a new precedence with easements and not taking.
You are correct. That would make it consistent with what we've done at the orchards, because the same scenario. We didn't want that aged underground over there, because it was going to, it's over $1 million to do a mile.
Do you, sir, do you have an HOA in your association? I mean, in your neighborhood?
Yes, yes,
And you collect dues?
yes.
Do you have a healthy balance?
Well, not in the six-figure range that Eric's talking about, but, I mean, we generally run a reserve of in the $10,000 to $20,000 range.
Okay.
And then, like I say, if we were ever going to contemplate the idea of an easement, I would certainly want to have money held in an escrow account to cover whatever happened in the roadway, as far as what the utilities did for damage. What if they failed and they had to dig up the middle of the road?
So what would you do if there was a catastrophic failure and they needed to go to an above-ground system?
They're going to have to do the same thing the orchards did. They're going to have to pay for whatever that cost of the overhead is.
So they would do it with a betterment fee?
You can't do betterment fees with electrical, believe it or not.
Electricity,
We've
that was
gone
where
that
the
route.
orchards
You
ran in,
can't do
yeah.
it.
So they would have to have that money saved
They'd
in
have to go
advance.
out try to get a bond or loan, or accumulate those monies through your fees, your HOA fees, which, as an example, the Orchards did that. They raised that money. They have the money to fund the whole project over there. We're going to oversee it and design it, but unless you guys had a stack of money, ultimately that's going to be your downfall, because I wouldn't recommend going further without at least like having some sort of escrow account where the town's not going to end up being liable for that roadway down the road.
I'm in an HOA, and I have approached every kind of lending institution, and there's no way that you can get a bond or a loan, because unless everybody puts their property up for collateral, you don't own anything that is high enough value to put against the loan. Your common area of land, or our common area of land, doesn't have enough value in order for us to get a loan to replace our underground electric system. So that's why we're saving and raising money to pave and to move our electric up, because we're in the same boat as you. Ours is 1987 and 1991. And so we're in the same exact situation, except we have a lousy road because we also have to maintain other infrastructure.
Yeah. So, am I ask a question, Barry?
Sure.
The area, I mean, I'm assuming that these underground wires are in some sort of pipe or conduit or something?
Well, that's the other problem. I can't guarantee that in there either as well. Could be direct buried.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise
what
me.
I'm thinking is if they were, then, couldn't they just be pulled out?
Yeah, ultimately,
up the road?
That's the nice way, but, unfortunately, when stuff's of that era, it's generally been direct buried.
Okay.
Where it's kind of abandoned in place.
Yeah.
Can't pull it out. But.
So that would probably be on your end. If you hired somebody to evaluate your electrical system, they would be able to tell you what you had in the ground. They could probably find the wire by locator device.
Some sort of
and then
tracer.
maybe they could give you a report on what your status condition is of your system. And then going forward, maybe we would have something to validate the location, and then maybe we can move this further along down the line. Obviously, it sounds like the road's in good shape, but the cross connection areas are in question. So with a question of a doubt, I wouldn't move forward until we had more information.
So you would recommend the next step for us would be to hire somebody to map out what's there today?
Yeah, I'd love to see an as-built of actually where that stuff is in the ground currently. I do know we've done some exploratory stuff just because we're in that business.
Sure. Yep.
It's not jacketed cable in there, so the idea of reusing any of that cable is just out. You can't. It's old 4 kV cable, and everything we use is 12 kV.
Okay.
We have to specifically step the voltage down just outside the development to feed you, because it'll burn up if not. So it's a costly upgrade. If, as the development, you weren't prepared to, come up with $1.5 million to go through the whole thing, then I think overhead would be your best solution.
Yep. I can put that to the residents and see what they
And then maybe that needs to be relayed back to those folks to fully understand what we're talking about for money here.
Well, what I'm envisioning in my mind is, based on what you're saying, 40 years old, it's going to fail at some point, that when that happens, it's going to be the burden of the residents, whether the town takes the road or not.
Correct.
So it kind of, doesn't.
I would.
That's a problem we're going to have to solve.
It is going to be. That's why I would somehow arrange, if the decision was to move forward, is to ensure it's the roadway, it's the plowing, it's the ditches, but we're not going to own the utilities.
Just like the easement, like you mentioned.
Like in an easement area, yeah.
Okay. So if I'm reading all this correctly, next step is on us to get some
I would go back and
further
get the
details
feel.
on the electrical infrastructure.
Get the feel of the folks over there, if they fully understand what what kind of monies they'll need to raise.
And you're thinking overhead about a third of underground roughly?
I'm just using what,
Just-
an
yeah,
example.
yeah.
The Orchards is a mile around there, almost identical to what, I think they came in originally over $1 million, and we were able to bid it, transformers, materials, find a contractor. I think we're going to do it for under 350.
But you have polls, so you have to get approval of
Sure, yeah.
your group.
I mean, that still doesn't ensure that you're going to get, accepted as a town road, but
Yep.
that would be my biggest hurdle. I'm not going to be here forever, but I will pass that along to my folks. They know my philosophy on that. We don't want to inherit a costly venture we'll never pay for. We'll never be able to recoup money in there through from electricity to recoup that kind of money.
So board, are we okay with that recommendation from our town manager? Yes.
No.
No. No, it's just a discussion. Okay, are we okay? Oh, Linda?
Yeah, I'm okay. I was trying to answer your question. Yes, I'm okay. I think they hear where the problem is. They've got a choice, with having to have some kind of a bond where they're going to have to put them above ground and see where your membership is before we go any further.
Okay.
Dave, any?
No, I'm fine.
Dave's fine? John? Okay.
All set.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we have a discussion on Abenaki bike trails. We have a review with the NEMBA, the Wolfeboro NEMBA, and we have to discuss whether or not we're going to continue with more trail maintenance and building.
Steve Clark here. It looks like Steve's got a new and improved
I'll show
bike
you the
trail
sign
map,
soon.
which I'm excited to see. So,
Part of Greater Wolfeboro New England Mountain Biking Association, hereto known as GWNEMBA. There's a little history we're going to review to get our point across and to let people know what we do. There's several trail systems in town, Abenaki, Fernald, and Sewell, where we maintain trails. The trails at Sewell are maintained by us, the double-wide gravel trail, so people who walk dogs, people who go out there and they're looking to help, we're the organization that you would get in touch with to volunteer time. And I want to review this history. So on May of 21, we got a letter from the board entitled Mandatory Requirements for Continued Trail Expansion. In it, disappointment was expressed in our non-action on trail signs, trail maps, communication, notifications. We have MOUs with different organizations because there's different landowners at each of those properties, so we work with the Wolfeboro Conservation Commission, the Lakes Region Conservation Trust, and the town, and communication amongst all those people. I became the president in the February ballpark of this year, with the goal of improving communication and making sure the work gets done, and that's what I'm here to talk about. So on this notification of stop working, do your stuff notification, it says that we have to work on mapping, signage, restoration, and scheduling. The goals of GWNEMBA include both trail development and trail maintenance. Those are two different arms. We have definitions of maintenance that we're trying to clarify, and we have definitions of building. So we came to a lock in our situation because we were trying to do maintenance with a machine at Abenaki, and it became clear that our actions haven't been notified to the town correctly, and also we haven't talked about what we've done. So prior to this letter, we hired a sign and map maker. We now have signs up on the trails at Abenaki. Full disclosure, we're short too, we're gonna order more. And we were just delivered maps. So we developed a new map for the Abenaki trail system that includes all the trails. You guys can get this online. The maps are kind of popping. They're nice. We showed it to the Wolfeboro Cross Country Ski Association to get their opinion. They're landowners of some of the trails that we don't access. We talked to the town to talk about what the signs would look like, what the maps would look like. All of those things took some time. We had to update trail forks to get the actual trails locked into their precise location. There was residual trails from construction that were unlabeled and not supposed to be there. We got to them and naturally covered them up and made them look fine. So prior to this letter, we were already taking action to resolve these conflicts. We got the letter, we met. We talked about how we're working on these actions and that we wanted to do maintenance at Abenaki. Last year, we built Summer Lovin' at Abenaki with approval. And it's a wonderful flow green trail from the top to the bottom, and I love it. A lot of people talking about how they enjoy it. The problem was it didn't rain during construction, so the soil didn't compact. The water flow was not evident. It rained in the beginning of the year. We were ankle deep in mud. We enjoyed that experience together. A few of you guys came out with us and we agreed the signage was not good enough, the maps were not good enough, and we were standing in ankle deep mud. So we took action. We hired somebody to fix the drainage and everything, but we did not notify properly. Now I know what notification should include: a detailed plan, reviewing it with Bobets, reviewing it with the town manager, getting approval before time, not springing it on you. I would like to have writing saying that we've done all this notification and that's how we should go. It's difficult to talk about organized plans in this kind of setting because everybody has questions and it's confusing to think about it. So, scheduling, we now know that we have to talk to Bobets, town manager, and Natalie DeShays at the water to organize trucks, movement, and action. The restoration, we've already started that process. We do work by hand. We have volunteers. I've been tracking a volunteer list because people have, the board has expressed concern that you're taking on our responsibility. We don't want that. We have a tracking system now where we're trying to keep track of all of our volunteers doing all the work. We have to notify Bets when they're doing, Bets when they're doing work up there. And that was us trying to fulfill the criteria. The only reason this sign is sitting by my knee and not hung on the post is I actually wanted to have it in my hand and say map. Because we've said the words maps and signs so many times, neither of those words make sense anymore. So when Abenaki was developed, it was broken into a three-phase system, which includes phase 1 and phase 2, which are done now. Summer Loving was part of that. From the filter bed road access, there is a jaunt to the right and a jaunt to the left on road, double wide, that goes over a culvert. The original design was to go straight from the parking lot into the trail system. There's a small map called New Entrance from Filter Bed Parking Lot. We walked with David, Brian, and Linda on that muddy day to point out that area. We agreed that no further action until discussed in other locations, but the entrance to get us off the road and to get us not going over the culvert is approved by Bobets, and he encourages that. So we'd like to propose that we finish the work that we're doing there, which would include a new kiosk with the new map, some information. Thank you for coming. We're aware that there's troll talk and there's other situations going on for that parking lot. We don't have a lot of volume going through that parking lot, but we have some. And it is an entrance. A lot of people bike from downtown into that entrance without driving there. As an aside, I was hanging up some do not go here chain this weekend, and 3 different groups of people told me they came from out of town to come to Abenaki because there's nothing like it in the area. You have to earn it to go up. The downhill is really fun. It's a unique place. It's fun. So anyway, we'd like to finish that. If we finish that, we're going to change these maps. We're going to reprint them again and put them up again. So I only printed 2. In our conversation, we were going to put 3, one at the top. Based on this conversation, we'll decide if we should get the one on the top up or not. There's a couple other things to discuss, but for the trail development, us complying with the mandatory requirements, actions, etc. Questions, comments?
So board members, I personally like the way the direction of the club. I think they're doing a great job. I like that we have good communication between us now. What does the board think? Linda?
Yeah, I like the fact that we're going to now go to written documents so that there's no misunderstanding, and I think we'll go miles with that, you know, and if we approve something tonight, I think we should have the town manager send a letter to you clearly stating what we have, and I am also very pleased with the changes you've made to the signs and really working on our communication, because we're moving, I think, finally in the same direction.
Thank you.
So did the town fix the culvert?
The culvert was fixed when I went to check on it. My guess is the town fixed the culvert.
Barry?
I
Barry?
believe that's the case, yes.
So it looks like that's a good one, a free one for you from us.
There are locations in the Abenaki area that aren't under our purview, for instance, around the water supply. No one should bike around the water supply. That is not a biking location, and it's not illegal to be up there.
Yep.
We also don't encourage it on the maps, and that's not our thing. So people are in places that we're not really in charge of, and we can communicate, and we can try to deal with those situations, but you know, we're also not inviting it, so we try. In the case of the culvert, that is a road where the town drives over it to get to the spray fields. There's a lot of heavier traffic than a bike, but it was broken down, and once it starts to break down, it gets worse. So we agree that things should stay in good condition.
So have you encountered the bears?
Yeah.
So do you have signage to alert people that the bears are near the parking lot and around that area?
We do not, and we do take suggestions. So, you know, sometimes we don't know what things we're responsible for signing, and I'm happy to.
Last time I was there was a mother and 2 cubs that were there. So they might feel that that's their area and other people might get scared. So
Someone posted on Facebook with an encounter on the Beans property, which is outside of, they were running, which is outside the biking area, but the bear's in that area. That's a fun one, beware of bears. And maybe we'll get a little bear on a bicycle going on.
A bear on a bicycle?
We'll have to keep them on the right trails, though.
I did see the post that you sent us with the new signs going to Tommy Boy and the other. I thought they looked good. I liked your map there.
Thank you.
I think you've done a lot of work to make amends here. I'm happy to say you did a great presentation also tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a few more things to hit, and I appreciate the positive encouragement. Shall I move on?
Yeah.
When we were developing trails, when we were developing the map, it became clear that a trail was on the wrong side of a stone wall, which put the trail in Hillary Ames's property, which is 11 Carriage Road. That was one of the delays on the map production because we wanted to resolve that issue before we had people go there. And I met with Hillary and we discussed a solution to the problem, which is we marked off the top of Abenaki. There are people that go up her road, her private road, to get to the trail system at the top of Abenaki because they feel that that's an access. It might be locals that do that that know that that's an access. So we're developing a sign for her for the bottom of the road saying no trail access prohibited, and we put up a yellow chain at the top of Abenaki because they developed multiple no trespassing signs up there, and I thought something must look better than that. So we're trying to indicate private property for her. We developed a simple MOU which states we're not developing anymore, we just want to make sure the trail's healthy and everybody's cool. I included it late to Amy, so I don't know if it arrived at your desk. And we're going to give her a certificate of insurance from NEMBA to cover that small trail area in case there's an injury or something. My thing is I want to make sure that she's A, comfortable with the situation, and B, covered if there's an issue. So all that is fine. The problem and the reason for the question is that the town owns the trails. The Winemba raised the money, gave the money to the town paid the contractors, the town owns the trail. I believe that's the technical, that's the reality of the situation. So we don't know on the MOU, it should be Hillary, And we don't know if it should be Gwinnett or the town of Wolfeboro as the signing entities. Plus, you guys might want to throw it by your lawyer or something. We're trying to keep it as basic as possible.
My personal opinion, we're all three involved in this. We're going to have to be the owners. You're going to be on her property doing maintenance. We should probably all be on this MOU so we have a document. And 10 years from now, when there's somebody new living there and there's new people on this board and maybe new people in your club, everybody still knows what's happening.
The drawn-up version that is in your hands has the 3 people on it, and NEMBA says that Gwinnett can sign it, so we can sign it. Hillary's happy to sign it. She's happy that we're trying to keep people off her property, and that's cool.
How much of the trail is on her property?
Oh, maybe 30 feet. It's not particularly long. There's a point where her property kind of angles off, and there's trail in that angle running, but there's no land marker for it turns, and then there's still no land marker, so we can't exactly say where that is. But the bit that's by the stone wall is definitely on the wrong side of the stone wall, so that part of it goes from the very top to the top hub, 30 feet maybe.
How difficult would it be to bring it back onto town property?
Summer Lovin is in that location. We could put a shunt from the top to Summer Lovin and cut the bit out and make it doable. I said if she's not comfortable with the situation, that's one of the options. She said she doesn't really want the construction up there to do that sort of thing, and she's comfortable where it is currently.
I just wanted the town to know that that is an option if we wanted to not do the MOU. I think those
It's
are
not
two.
impossible. It would be putting people on the very top of Summer Lovin for 30 feet. Summer Lovin hangs a right when you're on it. You just go straight right there, and it would link up with the hub in that area.
Would it cause a directional issue or a safety issue?
Yeah, we'd have to put up new signs because it would be not clear that there's a split there. It would make it a little more confusing of what's the top trails, what's the top thing.
All right. So that's something I think, board, that our attorney should look at the MOU?
Yeah, they'll look at the MOU. I think very definitely has to look at the MOU, just to make sure we're all covered.
Okay.
All right.
Last item. Thank you for the invitation to Winnipesaukee Day.
Yep.
I haven't found out from the Conservation Commission if they're interested in presenting at the same time. I'm happy to be there. Oh, we have a few contact points. We are Gwinnett. You can find us through NEMBA. We have a Facebook page. We have an email list. We want people to be on the email list so they know when we're doing work days. There's people that enjoy the trails that aren't bikers. We want that. We encourage that. We're taking care of trails that are definitely not biking trails. We want people to volunteer and be part of it. So I'm trying to extend our outreach to communicate with those people. When Summer Lovin was built by the contractor, Joe, we have a list of his service summaries, and we transferred money to the town. We believe there's a $1,850 overpay. We overpaid $1,850 to the town. I've been in touch with Amy several times, but I'm under the impression the town treasurer the position might not be filled or something. So we're trying to figure out if there's a remainder on that fund. That's not urgent.
All right, we'll look into it.
Okay.
We'll see what we can find.
We do have the invoices from Joe. We have the records of what we paid. So if that would be helpful, we could supply that.
So, board, with regard to them doing the new entrance from the parking lot, do we need a motion in order to approve that? Are we ready to approve that? Do we want them to finish their maintenance first? Where's the board on this? Linda?
Am I correct, the person who's doing the maintenance would then go to the entrance to do work?
We have some funds that we need to make sure we can secure, and that would potentially be the case. So there's a contractor who's currently doing hand work at Fernal to cap trails, and both hand and machine work at Abenaki to correct some building, finish drainage and stuff. Since he's in town, we also have his estimate for finishing the entrance for the trails from the parking lot directly in. So yes, we would have the contractor who is already here do that work, if we can make it all work out.
So that would be moving putting a new trail in and closing down another small trail, correct?
There's a small section that comes off of the road. So right now you go from the parking to the road and the little section there. We would get rid of that little section. And there would be one entrance from the parking lot that splits into two and meets the two existing trails that are there.
And then go off in two different directions.
Correct.
Yeah, they're in the same area, and yes.
So it doesn't really add a
Our
lot of
goal-
trails, it just kind of puts new trails in.
We're not weaving all over the place, it's pretty
Yeah.
direct. Our goal is to have a dedicated up and a dedicated down for pedestrian safety, for bike safety, because that's what we were trying to do all along, and to clarify the entrance and the trails to make it more obvious and clear to the people who are there to enjoy it.
So board, would anybody want to give a motion to allow them to do a trail build? Linda?
Yeah, I mean, we would need to have a contract and signed and the money deposited to us before any work moved forward.
The same payment technique as last time?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
By contract, how do you mean that specifically?
They'll do X amount of work for, supplies, blah, blah, blah. This is the project.
We have a cost estimate, we could supply that.
And they just give us an invoice or as part of the contract. We've had it before they've done it.
So I guess what I'm looking for is a preliminary approval that if they get in place their contract, their funds, and maybe Bo walks and sees exactly what that entrance will
The
look
new
like.
policy is to have Bo walk with the
Yeah.
contractor to be specific
Yes,
on the
we're
work
going to
gonna
follow
do.
the policy.
Correct. So if those are, is this board okay with going forward with that correction or that entrance from the parking lot if all these stipulations are followed?
You want me
Yes.
to try a motion?
You can.
Okay, I move that we allow NIMBA to construct a new entrance off the filter bed parking lot, following our policy, and that they will provide us with a contract and the money prior to the construction taking place.
Could we add that the money that they supposedly have in their account be applied to this same construction?
I'd love to do that if I thought for sure we could just
Yeah, we don't
put
need
that
to lay a
together.
contingency on that.
That might be
We
a
can
later
resolve that.
discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, but if you could give us all the documents you have,
Yeah.
we would be closer to being able to do that.
Our
Who would we
finance
supply the
director.
documents to? Who do we give that to? The
Yes.
money? Who do we give the previous invoices and payment to?
Amy.
Amy,
All right.
All right. So that's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dave. A motion by Linda, seconded by Dave. All in favor?
aye. And I have one other thing. I would like the town manager to send you a letter stating that, for your record and ours.
I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris?
Chris Dow, also part of the same group. One quick
Can you
question.
sign in?
Oh,
please?
sure.
Sorry.
My one question is for maintenance work, does that have to come through the town as well, payment-wise?
For payment,
For maintenance work?
you're asking me whether for the maintenance, does the town need the payment, or can you pay the contractor
Yeah,
direct?
I just wasn't sure. I know with new construction, we pay the town, but for maintenance stuff, do we have to pay the town for that, for you to pay the?
This is a new question for us.
Yeah,
It's a new question for
What
us.
have we done in the past?
I mean, most of the maintenance at Abenaki has been volunteer. So, but this year with some of the summer love and maintenance and other things we're doing, we are paying to have the work done. So I just wanted to make sure, just because I know we're going to get a bill pretty soon and we have the funds in the bank, I just wasn't sure if we're going to issue the check or if we need to issue the check. I don't know. I feel like if it's maintenance, it's not anything we're like doing new that's donating to the town, so it probably could fall on us, but I want to 100% be certain that that's the direction that we, again, communication.
No, perfect to bring, well, let's be clear on this.
So the only question that I would bring up would be the liability
That's where I
insurance
am. Yeah,
for the contractor. I mean, I don't know what we have volunteers all over the place that do volunteer work, and I think from you guys have insurance through
Stu
NEMBA.
provided insurance, and we also have our NEMBA insurance that
Yes.
covers workers.
So for me, it would be clean and clear if we always use the same policy. When money is being spent on the trails in any way, if we always do the same policy where the town gets the money in the invoice and we pay, then we have a paper trail of everything.
So,
It could be a little confusing if maintenance happens and we don't know what the cost was, or I don't know. It's just a thought.
So,
Jim, go.
unfortunately, we did something down at the gazebo and the bandstand, whereas another entity, we allowed them to do electrical, but they just provided us their document and they paid them.
Well, that's where kind of I'm going, the same thing. The new construction, it's a bigger thing, it's a contract.
is.
I'm almost with you, is that,
I don't mind letting them do their own maintenance, to tell you the
As
truth.
long as we have a record of everything that's done?
Just
Yeah.
just a liability insurance that covers us, and you
Yeah,
guys
and-
can take care of
and-
the small stuff.
and a record of the amount they paid and what was done.
Yeah, a
Then I'm
copy of the invoice to the contractor, and so that we know we'll keep it in our records, then it matches your records.
For
That's,
the
I'm
first
okay.
part of our actions, the maintenance, we'll give you a copy of our payment in the billing. For the second phase 3 here, when we're having them build new things, you guys pay for that, we'll send money through you.
Perfect.
That's what,
Does that work for you, Barry?
Yeah, I'm just curious, why necessarily was it done for larger scale project? Is it because it's our asset?
Yes.
I just, I'm trying to figure out why
Yeah,
the,
it's our asset.
It's our asset, but now they're donating money to maintain our asset.
okay.
So I guess it's
It
okay
real-
if they pay
If it's
direct.
worked, I'm fine with that. It does seem like a bit of a pain for every maintenance thing if they had to
Yeah,
run it
maintenance
through
thing-
us. So if we can
maintenance-
keep
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
run that through them,
Yep.
And just give us records.
it would just,
So we
I think it would
understand.
streamline it a bit.
Okay.
thanks.
I have one question. We're going to have public hearings accepting these funds.
Well, I mean, what kind of money are we talking about?
The new entrance was about $35,000.
Yes.
Yeah, and then definitely going to have a public,
Maintenance is not going to be that 10,000. We just have to make note on an agenda. We need that.
What do you have a anticipated maintenance cost on this so far?
The same number.
Same number?
the same number.
The current, what's
35,000.
happening now is about 35,000.
Oh, then, okay, then we need 2 public hearings.
2 public hearings.
Anything over 10,000 requires a public hearing, but any donation actually requires approval of the Board of Selectmen. It is
Correct.
unanticipated funds.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought we had to have, so,
Okay.
So with that, how do we even deal with a scenario like what's going on right now? There's going to have to be a public hearing to accept the maintenance work once it's completed? Technically, I think, probably is.
yeah, I think that's,
See the
We
things
do.
we run into?
it's more difficult about spending the 35.
There's a lot to the politics that I didn't really understand
Yeah,
prior to this experience.
Town government sometimes takes a long time to catch up.
So, in review of the new Phase 3 Building the Trails question, would a public hearing need to happen prior to taking action on that?
That's where I was starting to go. I
Well-
would think we would before that we let them build a new entrance.
Yeah, I don't know what your payment schedule is with the individual doing the work, but I would think it would be cleaner if you could get the town to accept the money, and for that, you'd need to do the public hearing.
So the trail development would be the town accepting the money. Us working maintenance, is that the town accepting money? Because we're paying for that directly.
You're paying for it directly, but you are performing an improvement to town-owned property.
Yeah, so we're
So
still, I mean,
it-
it's just the RSA we have to follow.
Yeah, just for clarity's sake. So I think the acceptance of the funds for the maintenance, and that can be post, and then if we want, I think for the sake of the motion, right?
Yeah.
The town is okay with us doing a trail. So then we make sure we secure funding. And if we get the check and the paperwork and then bring it in, then that would go to the public hearing. So it's kind of, I'm hearing that we're okay to finish the maintenance, we'll accept the funds, and then the board is okay with us moving forward with the new entrance as far as construction at a like board level, as at a board level, but for that to happen, we would need to then come with the funds and the acceptance in a public hearing, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the way it has to go.
And you would put that in writing and then get that vetted a couple times to make sure everything's good.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good. I need to go look, because some of it's at Fernald, which doesn't matter to you guys, but it would be above the 10,000 on the Abenaki side, so.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we can follow.
Yep. Here comes Amy.
You can accept the value of something after the fact. So if he's doing maintenance, it's because it's on town property and it holds a value to something done on a property. You have to accept it. So if they pay it through us or they don't pay us through us, like for example, the fire equipment is being paid not through the town, but you're accepting that value. If he pays the maintenance contractor himself, you would accept the value that they did that maintenance to the town property and donated that value to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right, and that would fall in with
And
them
need a
doing
public
it.
hearing, yeah.
But to have them do something new on town property, because part of my understanding of a public hearing, you allow the public the right to say, yes, I want it, or no, I don't.
Correct.
And so if we're
Yeah.
building a new entrance, that's why we would hold a public hearing for them to hear whether they do or not. We don't get many people, but I think that's why we have to
So
do
that means
it.
your approval would come on the 5th, right?
Or do we try to put something in earlier?
Yeah, we could have an earlier
You just
meeting.
need 7 days' notice, over $10,000, and in a publication.
For a time frame, you're talking,
Maybe the 23rd.
If you're going to accept something over $10,000, you need to have 7 days' notice, and it has to be in a newspaper.
Right after.
People can download our new map off the website, and I hope people get out and play on the trail, because that's what they're for.
Good job.
So board, would we want to have a meeting on the 23rd? It would have to be,
We already were going to schedule a meeting on the 23rd. We could just do it a half hour later.
Yeah.
And do this first and then do the other meeting.
yeah.
Because we're already supposed to book to our calendar that day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, what time on the 23rd?
I think we're scheduled right now to meet at 9. We do that first.
Do it at 8:30?
Just start our other meeting at 9:30.
Okay. All right.
Because we're not going to make a decision on that until the 27th.
So, board, are we okay with a meeting on the 23rd of July? And we'll incorporate this into this public hearing for the trail entrance to go with that 9.
That's okay. We can just, it's
Yeah.
just be a quickie.
What
Yeah.
time?
It doesn't make sense for you
Well, we have
to,
a 9 o'clock meeting that time anyways for recruitment.
so we'll just do it before the recruitment
Yeah.
meeting.
So what time, Brian?
9 o'clock.
We'll keep it 9, we'll just
Yeah,
push the
on
other
July
part later.
23rd.
When
We-
we're done with that, we just go into the
Yeah,
other meeting.
it will be a fairly quick meeting. I don't think we're going to have the public concerned if we accept $35,000 in a donation to make the trails safer at the entranceway.
Thank you for taking the time to make that work out.
Thank you for all
Thank
your
you.
work and for the group.
Yeah, the group's doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Mr.
next.
Chairman, can I just get some clarification from Steve quickly?
Yep.
Sorry. The top of Carriage Road is our absolute best access for, Steve, one sec, for emergency response to the top of Screaming Eagle before it gets down behind the top rope shed. So we park the ambulance up there and we stage for any rescue up there. Is that going to be a gate or what are we talking about? A chain? Yeah.
Hillary pointed out that that's an ambulance rescue. It's just a plastic chain, and there is a carabiner, but if you blast through it, so be it.
We're good at break. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. For anybody who didn't hear that, there is a plastic chain up on the top of Abernathy, and the fire department needs access to get in. And Mrs. Ames, who owns the property, who's working on an MOU with the town, has said that the ambulance can stage in and work off of her private road. Okay, so now our next is discussion, lease to license agreement for Cape Park propane tanks. This agreement has expired and and you will recall that that our town attorney prefers that our license agreements are now our lease agreements are now license agreements. So we are going to talk about amending this.
So with that, I think we have Mr. Ford here. They have expressed an interest in obviously renewing the existing 2-year policy, which is now a license agreement. Not a lot else has really changed, slight language, but it in essence reflects the same conditions of the prior agreement. So with that, if you folks want to say anything, or if the board has any concerns, I guess, of the pre-existing agreement, John?
So I don't have a problem with the agreement. I was wondering, what I thought I read was the fee was the same. I'd like to see some increase for inflation so that we can try to cover our taxes as the people that pay the taxes have to pay them.
So I already went and looked at the cost of living index, and it was 2.6% in 24, 4.2% in 25. It's 4.6% in 26. So I used the 4.2% from last year. That gave us an $84 increase, and then we can add the 4.6% increase for next year to have it go up so it follows the cost of living. So it would go from $2,000 to $2,084 for this year, and then we would follow it with the consumer pricing index going forward, if that's no objection from Mr. Ford. Okay. All right, so board, do you need more time to look at this draft and to digest it, or are you okay with
Go ahead.
for making a motion? Would somebody like to make a motion? Remember, the number is 2,084 for this year, and then the consumer price index for the following year.
So moved.
So, do I have a second? We got a second. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So now, next is our discussion for a right-to-know policy implementation. So, Barry, this one's on you.
It's on me, but I'm handing it over to Amy.
Okay.
Where is she? Okay, so I can preface it by saying you're live.
You're live, Amy. Right to know.
Right to know. You're up.
Okay, hi, I'm Amy Capone-Muccio. Sign in. Right to know policy. We don't have one. It's been something the staff has talked about for several years, about a process that we could have a policy and procedure. Currently, you know, it could go to Pat Waterman's office, it could go to the town manager, they go to the department heads. We have no organized process to record, track them, have a follow-up, make sure they were answered. So we're looking to do that. We looked around at a couple of different towns, and actually this one came up from our IT services, the town of Londonderry. This is their exact policy, minus Nathan did go through it and make a couple little changes. It really just, it's going to outline what we kind of already do. It just puts it in black and white. The other thing we're going to do is have a form, so it's clear what people are requesting. We also want to spin up an email only for right to know. They would click on the email and send their right to know there. The cost record sheet is very similar to what we already use. We have a copy policy in effect for just regular records. We are not going to use this for the Wolfeboro Police Department or the Fire Department when they do their accident requests. They have their own process. And that's similar to what other towns do as well. What else did I want to point out? Oh, we will also do a log. Many communities, I guess, keep a log now, so that if you do duplicate requests, we can just give you the request. Sometimes we have a couple people asking for the same things, and then we redo them again. So we'll have a log, and I actually didn't know about a log until I had a right to know request for our log, but we don't have one, so. So this is just a start if you wanted to make suggestions. The department heads have seen it.
Board, do you have any questions or concerns? John?
So what is the penalty for not meeting the request deadline?
For us, for the town?
For us, yes.
Well, I mean, we're supposed to meet it in 5 days, and if we can't meet it in 5 days, we need to give a date certain. So depending on whatever, we usually try to, we know what we're going to have to do for the work. If it's something large, then we can tell them, we can't have it in 5 days, but we'll have it for you in 30.
So would that meet the 91A request for 30 days? Or
It does.
It does?
Yep.
As long as you responded back to them?
Yes. Most requests are not, you know, we can't produce things that don't exist. So if they're there, we just give them to them. I think the problem that we kind of see throughout our departments is actually who got the request, who followed up on it. Some requests could come in through the town clerk. A lot of them are coming in through our portal that's on the website, and that filters out a lot of things, attachments, none of that. So if we could streamline them into one location, I think it would be easier for us to get back to people. It's not the fact that we don't have information if it exists. It's fulfilling the requests.
So would this be a kind of like a self-funding operation, like the cost that you're getting from the 91A requests pay for somebody, or where do they go, or who's doing all the 91A requests?
Well, the person would be me. I will be getting the requests. The email will be landed in my email box, and then I will have a backup person that will have access. It's similar to our bid email. We have 2 people on that. It's myself and the finance director. So if someone is out, a lot of the requests do come filtered through me anyway, depending on what they are. This way, it would just come in through me. I would be able to read the request, and if it was something for the planning department, then I would forward it to the director. And then I would have an email box where I can task them and make sure that we're following up and we're completing them in the 5 days.
Short answer, John, I don't think we can make an enterprise fund out of this.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
just,
there's a lot of
so
time.
actually, I'm looking at the property owners in Wolfeboro and trying to say, should the fee be higher for non-property owners and different for property owners that pay taxes that actually fund the town government.
So I do see that in the fee scale, if you look on page 1, 2, 3, well, 3, 4, on page 4, the fee scale is it's a charge of $1 for individual electronic communications, regardless of whether the records are delivered in hard copy or electronically. No charge shall be issued for the first 250 individual electronic communications. No charge shall be issued for the following individuals or entities. So there's a lot of, if you read those closely, there's a lot of ways that you don't have to pay a lot for this. Where it gets into the expenses is color photos and big 11 by 14 documents and stuff like that. Linda?
Yeah, I think this is one of the services that we provide, that if any citizen, resident wants information about the town, we are required to do it, and I think that I don't want to see us charge large sums of money. What I like about this is it's a written request. We have a form that we're getting it organized and trying not to have something slip through the cracks, to have a lot. I think this is a very good start, and I'd like to have more time to read it over and think about the fees, too, because there are two places, but thank you for doing this. This
We don't
gets us
have a
moving.
lot of people, anyone who complains about the cost. If anything's larger files, we often ask them to come in and we put them on the table, and that way they can review and then request copies from there. Some of the email can be where we have our biggest files. If you're requesting for emails, then those have to be done by the IT, and they can be large files. Most of the time, we offer IT to help folks open those, and then they can look at them as PDFs and only print what they want. And then the other option that most people choose is, $15 or $16 for a UBS stick, and we download it and they can print. But most of the time, it's just a couple dollars.
And
we don't make a lot of money off it. This is just more organization.
If I'm correct, this is a kind of templated off of Londonderry, New Hampshire, so it's not something that we just created. And other communities were looked at for their policies also to see what they...
Yeah, it's similar. Most of your cities have a nice organized where you can go right on their website, fill out a form, send it in. That's kind of like what we were looking to do.
So
we looked at
there has
Londonderry,
been...
Dover,
Yeah.
maybe Rochester, a couple other towns.
So there's been a lot of thought put into this so far.
Yeah, we've talked about it behind the scenes for a couple of years.
Okay. All right, board, what would you like to do? Do some more research?
Yeah, I think this is given to us as a draft.
Yeah.
So I would like to have another look at it. And I want to look at the fees, just check that out again. And
So
it needs to come back as a final document.
at the next meeting, you think?
Yeah, I think,
When she's ready.
'cause Selectman O'Brien's not here either, so, if you have suggestions or questions, then if you could email them to me so that we can chat about it, and then I can bring it back.
All right, so more to come at the next meeting.
So can the public weigh in on this at any point?
I thought we decided that public input goes at the end, and this is
Okay.
once we go down that slope, we get...
Well, I thought he was acting, are we going to do a public hearing to institute this policy?
That too, but
Yeah.
you're right, Linda. So if somebody has a question on this document, they can talk about it today in the public comment part, but we will be doing a public hearing, will we not?
As a policy, I don't know if it's not an ordinance.
Policies we usually don't hold public hearings on.
Correct. But remember,
But we can hold a public hearing on anything
yeah,
We're going to with a cross-connection policy.
We did that, it's not a public hearing, it's public input. And that's when I was saying, if we
Okay.
so choose to, we could do public input on it if
Yeah.
you would like.
Just trying to get the people out there, if they want to input on it, that we should give them the opportunity because it affects them.
Yeah, they can also take and contact Amy at the town hall. She'll send them a copy, and they can email their suggestions to us. We're
Good
open
idea.
for suggestions from everybody.
Okay. So you heard that. So if you get the document and want to mark it up and send it in, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Any suggestions, that's what we
Yep.
take.
I mean, I think ultimately it's an improvement for the public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what we're
there's also a lot of things I see out there that people put in 91A requests for. Charlene, you can whip me out in the parking lot later, but they'll make requests. They'll make requests for things like verbal stuff, which 91A requests are documentation documents, and not necessarily, oh, I want the names of this person or that. That's not really part of it.
So I made a couple of 91A requests over the last few years. One of them I had to drive all the way to Concord. I was given a file that I could only look at and take pictures of and then go home. Another one was I went for a 91A through the post office, and it took me about a year and a half to get it. It was, we need more time, we need more time, we need more time, we need more time. So hopefully we can do a better job than those two. One of them was the state of New Hampshire, and one was the U.S. Post Office, and both of them, and I had to be diligent, and I had to stay on them, and I had to keep answering emails. It was a lot.
So I think Barry just brought up a good point, actually. If somebody's out there and they're listening to us and they're seeing something in our town and they see an action and they want to know about the action, how do they request information about it?
It depends what it is.
Well, Barry just said, well, if it's not a written document and somebody wants to know what's happened or why did you do this or how much information did you get to make this decision, I mean that becomes a pretty significant question.
They can ask a question, and they also can do a 91A request, which requires us to perform in a certain period of time. So asking the question for documents, my understanding, if somebody comes into the office and says, could I have a copy of the document on right to know policy tonight, that there's somebody in the office would hand it to them.
Well, I think what Barry was just explaining was there was an action and somebody wanted to find out how the action was done or what supported the evidence to do the action, and I think
it is correct. Yeah, you can do a 91A, but unless there's a document that records or something of that, you can't make a verbal request or a written request for a 91A for somebody's name, what somebody did.
A conversation.
A conversation. Those are not 91A eligible. There has to be something that was documented in writing. And, our policy has been signed, too. You'd have to have, somebody would have to have done a signed complaint or anything. So those are things, I don't know if a lot of folks know. I didn't know this going into this, 6 months ago about the 91A, but it has to be a physical document that you're requesting.
Okay. We'll wait and see if somebody comes up with other information and submits it to us on the contrary. And we might be able to submit it into the document.
I don't know. I mean, I did do a lot of 91A looking at recently, and a phone conversation or private conversation between two people is not 91A. You can't get a 91A for that.
It's not eligible.
And it's not eligible. And I was surprised to see that if a citizen gives and that's what I looked up, if they give a redacted document to the town, that can stay redacted until it's 91A'd, and then only the name has to be given. The personal information gets to stay personal. So just the name has to be given. And that was something that I didn't understand until recently.
Yeah, and I have no problem if somebody else has out there a different document that said something different than ours that is related to RSA,
Yeah.
we'd always look at that. We're trying to do what is best. So I have no problem with that, but it has to fall within the lines of the RSA.
Okay. So more to, stay tuned, more to come from this. Next is a discussion, the year-to-date operating budget report, and Barry will head this one up.
Damn, is Timothy still up there? Timothy? I gotta pay him for this. Just switching the tape for me. So I think you've all seen the,
Oh, no.
It's a picture of Barry.
Yep. Go on up, Barry.
So while they're there, did everybody have a good 4th of July? I did. It's a tough crowd.
you folks would be happy to know we'll have a finance director next month to do this, and not myself. So this is where we stand budget-wise through the end of June, and we've broken it down by fund. So the general fund is 43.9% expended at the 50% mark of the year. The enterprise funds, 35.3 in the water, municipal electric, 56.7. The reason we're up on that one, cold winter, sold a lot of power, which is a good thing. So sold more, higher revenue to offset that. Sewer funds, 30.3% expended. Pop Whalen Fund, 46.9. So we're in pretty good shape. If you look down the lower chart under the general fund, we did have a $2.4 million bond due today, the 15th. So that's the effect on the bond on the general fund, which is the majority of it, 1.7 million, I think, of the 2.4. So we're still right on track, 51.2%, approximately 60% committed, encumbered, POs basically drafted and held. So I would entertain any questions. If not, you have the full budget in your packet. Please feel free to review and let me know if you have any questions. Linda?
Yeah. Are we going to next month get revenues?
I don't know. Who's going to be the town manager? I have revenues for certain departments. One of the things, revenues is lagging with us just because we have to go from one system, and this information gets basically, due to our software, needs to be basically hand entered into MuniSmart. So there is a lag to it. I could produce revenues, they're just going to be a month or so off. If you can wait another 30 days,
Give it to
I'd
somebody.
feel better, and then maybe I won't have to worry about it. No.
I
No,
just,
we can. Like we did Pop Whalen revenues a month ago. We were on track. I obviously know the electric revenues very well because that's my deal. Sewer. The general fund revenues is a little different. It's a little more difficult because we're lagging a bit.
only reason I saw it when I went over with I signed the manifest, that we have now moved all the money for the community center into the trustee, giving it over to the trustees of trust funds.
Correct. That went into the
And I think the
fidelity
public
funds.
needed to know that we
Yeah.
finally got that done.
That just happened this week.
I just saw
Yeah.
it in my,
Right.
what I signed
Yeah, That
today.
went over to the fidelity funds.
Yeah.
Do you happen to have a round guesstimate of how much it is?
I want to say I saw
I was
231,000.
going to say it's 230 something.
Yeah, I was told that it was about 236, but there may be 5,000
Well,
that's
you're
still
in
on
the
its way.
ballpark, right, yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So, look it over. I'm going to
Okay.
present this to the Budget Committee as soon as tomorrow. If you folks have any questions, reach out to me.
Okay, we will.
Okay, and budget guidelines. A discussion of the 2027 proposed budget guidelines, because budget time is on us.
Budget time is on us, yes. Budget guidelines we've been working on for 3 weeks or so. We've updated all the utility costs. We've had to, much like we do, we have to make some estimates on insurance and whatnot because the final pricings aren't necessarily in at this juncture of the year. We've got the fuel costs. We know some of the Primex insurance costs, liability and whatnot. I don't have it up there, so that's don't necessarily pay attention to the screen. But so my intent is to try to get out to the department heads this week. We have a department head meeting on Friday. I want to get this out there to them. I'm going to try to load this thing as soon as next week on Unismart so that we can stay on track and have our budget turned into the town manager, whoever that may be, by the end of August. And that would put us right on schedule with prior years. We've always been right about the end of August to try to get that stuff into the town manager. I'm not proposing at this juncture any major increases in the operating budget. I'm trying to hold the line like we did last year. Non-discretionary stuff is non-discretionary stuff, and discretionary, we're going to have some. We know fuel is going to be up. We know, wages and salary. Anything that has a bargaining agreement is going to reflect those changes. But as far as reaching out anything over and beyond on operating supplies, I'm going to try to hold the line as close as we can. If you know me from past, I tend to be pretty conservative with my budget request. The electric department, I hope to hold the same townwide.
So for layperson's terms, fixed costs are going to try and remain the same. Variable costs
are going to be what they are.
That we don't have much control over, like if we have an insurance hike, if we have a fuel increase, those are what drive our budget to go up in
Correct.
Numbers.
We know like insurance, we're figuring it's going to be at 10%. That's generally what you figure. Sometimes it gets in at 7%, but for the sake of putting our budget together, we're going to factor in a 10% on health insurance and fuel. And we did better than we thought on fuel, though. So, electricity.
Yeah.
I put together in that what I foresee as the electric rates based on the best of my knowledge. I would ask that doesn't get distributed too much because we haven't locked in an agreement yet. That will be probably October. I don't think it's going to be as bad as we once thought, though. I'll leave it at that. So,
Okay.
A 2 to 3 cent increase on the rate, but.
Board members, any questions for Barry? All good?
So I'd just like you to accept it for me to move on to the board, on to the department head so we can get rolling.
Make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the 2027 proposed budget guidelines.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So a motion by Linda, second by Dave. Any other discussion, board? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Opposed?
thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are now going to go into a Libby trustees meeting. So do I have a...
What about the search update?
Oh, sorry, I missed one. The discussion of the town manager search update. There really isn't much of an update except that we will be doing interviews on the 22nd and potentially on the 23rd for potential candidates for the town manager position. And that's where we are right now. That's about all we have to update everybody. There'll be more coming very, very soon. Any questions, board? Any comments?
I'll make a motion, we go into the Libby trustees meeting.
Second.
So I have a motion going to the Libby's from Linda and a second from Dave. So we are now,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, so we're in a Libby trustees meeting. And so what we have is, we have an appraisal date, which is July 20th. And there was a discussion to use volunteers at the museum with the appraiser. Amy is going to go down there, and Bruce Marinell will meet him there. I might meet him there also because I've been working a little bit with the company that's doing this. It's the New Hampshire Antique Cooperative out of Milford. We're probably going to require that people use masks because the museum has been closed up and things haven't been cleaned and the air quality might not be very good in there right now. We are having Block 5 there again to take and remove all the electronics out of the museum so that we will have all those electronics in place. And there was a request from the Newer Friends group with the museum, but I think that we're going to stick with having the town employees work with the appraiser at this time. If things change and we need additional help, we will reach back out to that group. Board, do you have any comments, questions, or anything with regard to the appraisal?
So are we appraising, and then what do we do after we appraise it? Do we move it into a spot somewhere?
So Huff Moving has arranged to take some of our artifacts. They will take everything, but they will not take any taxidermy. And as a board, we have an option to maybe move the canoes to the boat museum for storage on loan or things like that. The appraiser is going to work on identifying the most valuable things first, and so that we can get prices on those, and he's also going to identify what needs repair. The New Hampshire Antiques Co-op does have individuals that can do cleaning and repair if we have something that is of value that needs to be taken care of. The case with all the rocks in it, that's neat. The case is probably worth way more than the rocks. That's not something that we're going to clean and detail when we store it, but there may be items, when they see them, they'll know. They have appraised skeletons before. They have appraised taxidermy before. They have appraised almost everything that we have in there they've seen. I personally sent them 173 pictures of all the artifacts that I could take pictures of in the museum. And they're very comfortable in coming and looking at everything for us. So unless the board has any concerns, any other questions, or any suggestions, John?
So what happens after Huff gets it? What are they doing with it? Are they storing it?
They're going to be storing it in museum quality storage for us, and we're going to have to pay for it.
Okay. As long as the public knows that.
Yeah. So. Anything else?
I have one other thing, not related to this, though.
Oh, okay, so I need a motion to come out of the Libby Trustee Museum.
No, it's Libby trustee.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So, a couple meetings back, I think what we heard from Mr. O'Brien was that he had met with a member of the LWA in person somewhere. And I was wondering if Mr. O'Brien came to the Libby trustees to say that he was going to go meet with this individual.
That's a question for Mr. O'Brien.
So was that part of a Libby trustees protocol?
I'm not 100% sure I understand the question.
Because
Right,
I think when we were in a Libby trustees meeting, I think we all agreed what course of action, somebody was going to go talk to this person was going to go talk to that person. But I was just kind of seemed a little odd that Mr. O'Brien would just automatically go out and talk to somebody on his own and then come back to report to us that he just went and talked to somebody and then acquired a document. And so I just...
Linda?
Yeah, the organization, the Lake Winnipesaukee Association, had first been contacted by the subgroup of the Historical Heritage Commission. And so there was a door opened. And my understanding, the person contacted him. That's just my recollection. So it was a door the town had already opened. And my understanding from things I've heard that the Friends of the Libby Museum have talked to them, so it seems like there is a possibility of some interest there.
Yeah.
And it's something that was followed through on.
Well, I just would think that in the future, if there was an individual of the Libby trustees and they were going to meet somebody, that we would all know about that before that happened. So we could all say, we think it's a good idea and what we might want to find out from that meeting in the future.
So that'll be a question you'll have to ask Mr. O'Brien when he's here, because I can't speak for him, Linda can't speak for him.
Well, we are a board, so I thought I'd bring it up as a board.
Anything else?
No, thank you. Suzanne's got something.
So, board, this is a trustee meeting just for us. This isn't public input, but Suzanne, you can give public input at the end of the...
Well, let me just say again, Libby trustees you are. You have no bylaws, no rules of procedure, and for you not to allow comment from a group that's trying to help out with the Libby Museum is foolishness.
Well, hold on, I'm just going to ask, is the board okay with Suzanne giving us input?
I am.
I am, because I think she's right, under Libby Museum, we should have public input.
Okay. Dave, you're okay?
Yeah.
All right, we're fine. We just have to make sure that it's okay, we're a group.
Okay. So I can read a statement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so today I've done something that I've wanted to do for quite some time, and I'd like to read to you. It's to the Friends of the Libby Board, the Friends, not to you, but I want you to know this. I had wished to speak to you in person at a meeting rather than this format. However, with the upcoming meetings scheduled by the Board of Selectmen/trustees in August, I feel it necessary to submit this letter of resignation from the seat as chairman of the Friends of Libby. For several months, I have found it increasingly unagreeable for me to justify the movement of the Friends organization moving away from strict adherence to Dr. Libby's will and the Friends bylaws purpose, which is, in part, reads as follows: shall promote and support natural history in Wolfeboro, ensure donations are used for their intended purposes to protect and preserve the museum, according to the terms of Dr. Libby's trust. With the Friends' vision for the LWA through the November 25th budget and a note in a recent public letter from LWA to the Board of Selectmen trustees referring to the Friends approaching them, meaning the LWA, to become successor trustees, along with grant funding to the LWA, I can no longer serve. I must therefore immediately resign my position as chairman and eagerly work to achieve a sole mission of retaining a museum in Wolfeboro in strict adherence to the trust, the Libby will, and the vote of the town. I see a successful pathway through the newly established 501c3 Libby Museum Preservation Society. I wanted you to know that I do not have a conflict anymore, and I think I had good reason to step aside. The second thing is, on May 6th of 2026, the new organization stepped forward and read a letter to the board trustees in regards to their establishment and their purpose. And I'll just refresh you on some of it. It was in regards to Article 25 that passed, and it was telling you about the establishment of the new organization. And the name is the Libby Museum Preservation Society, and it was formed with the intent of becoming the successor trustees for the Libby Museum. The new organization will be dedicated to reimagining and carrying forward the legacy of the Libby Museum by raising enough money to restore the building or rebuild in a replica, and continuing its rich history by operating the museum in the future for the benefit of the community. The Libby Museum Preservation Society will operate the museum under the brand name, the Libby Museum Discovery Center. And our mission is to engage learned of all ages in the exploration and appreciation of the Lakes region natural history and ecosystem. And then we had asked at that time if we could look forward to working with you. And so as a step in that direction, I would ask, I just made a note for myself, I would ask that the trustees and Mr. Muccio, please, when you, would you include us and copy us when any correspondence or any discussions or interaction with any group or organization that might affect what we're working on, so we can keep a dialogue of communication open so that I don't have to read it in the newspaper. Anything that you feel that is appropriate. Of course, there are discussions that are not appropriate for us to know, but anything that you might be helpful, think helpful, so that we can keep some dialogue going back and forth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, now do I have a motion to come? Is this for just Libby Museum?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, I'm Sebastian Tordonato, and I'm the vice chairman of the Libby Museum Preservation Society. We've been curious about the correspondence that's been going on back and forth about the Friends of the Libby Museum and the LWA. I would just like to point out that in considering others, you have to also, since you're the trustees and you're supposed to carry forward the mission that Dr. Libby had established in his will to maintain a museum in that location. We're the only ones that are offering that. The LWA wants talking about doing a center for water testing and having a small room for a portion of the exhibits. That's not what's in the will. That's not what's in the trust. And you as the trustees are supposed to carry forward what was in the will and what was in the trust. So I ask you to reconsider some of the things that you may be thinking about. We're the only ones that are actually putting forward, continuing with the Libby Museum as a museum, and continuing with the exhibits that they have, and also expanding that and making it into more of a learning center. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Board, any comments?
Do you want a motion to come out of,
Yes, please.
motion to come out of the Libby trustees meeting?
Do I have a second? Second. So motion by Linda, second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next. Where are we?
You're under
Yeah.
old business, you're right here.
We are at old business. So we have trolls on Townland update. Catherine Dragonfly is looking for a response as to what we want to consider for a location with the troll on Filterbed Road parking lot. We had some information given to us by Steve Randall, and I would like to know about the board's concerns, comments, or questions. What? Oh, sorry. So if, does the board have any questions or concerns, or I was hoping Catherine would be here to discuss this with us, but she's...
She was.
Yeah, she left. There's a whole bunch of concerns that were brought to us. Does anybody on the board wish to talk about any of these? Bring them forward? Anybody?
You know, you go ahead.
I actually was hoping that we would have a couple different choices of different locations. I think somebody mentioned that we had a correspondence that said that they didn't want this on town land because it would be a burden to the taxpayers. I think, I don't know as if I agree with number one, where is there a need future development this site or the wastewater treatment plant, where it says no. I haven't seen any documentation that would validate that no. I know that the area was cleared for a future site down there. We don't really know what future expansion could be down there. It may not be in our lifetime, but it may be in a future lifetime, to tell you the truth. And as far as the traffic, I think we heard testimony that the testimony could be up to 100,000 to 300,000 people, not 10,000 to 30,000 people. And I just don't think, after really thinking about it, that in the downtown core on that residential area slash semi-quasi-commercial area, it's going to be a tough situation with the traffic coming up the steep hill, cars going out, trying to pull in that steep hill on Friend Street. That's a nightmare just in itself when you have your own vehicle, and coming down on Mill Street and then coming out by the Nordic Skier. I mean, that's a congested area. Our road is all peeled up down there. We're just going to continue to add more work. We know it's a swamp base. We would have to reconstruct that road completely down there in the future. I actually would like to support this, but not in this location.
Linda?
Yeah, I sent those questions to Steve, trying to get a picture, and I'm trying to picture exactly how people are going to get to this parking lot, because my understanding is the artist came from Abenaki, went down the trails, and then, whoa, here's a rock. So my feeling was they were going to come the Mill Street Filter Bed Road. So that makes it so we have a parking area and a congested area if all of them come in that direction. It isn't like they're popping out of the woods at it. They're going to be driving to it. So I definitely would want a design of the whole area before we move forward with it. And the cost of designing the parking lot, I think in there, there was questions about whether we would need toilet facilities, some kind of place. You know, I'm not sure this is the right spot, but it's the spot that's in front of us. But I definitely would need the design. I need the cost because they say no cost to the taxpayer. Redoing that parking lot would go on their fundraising campaign, in my mind. So I thought we got good answers. And first thing I thought of, John, was, are we going to need that in the future? That space for the plant. My understanding is that if we did a new plant right now, it would be right next to the old plant and it wouldn't go into that we had done work there to make that into a parking lot. There is also the issue, if we do this downtown area, would we use part of that for our staging area? I think there's a lot of questions out there before we could move forward on this, myself.
Yeah, I agree with Linda. There's still some unanswered questions. And we haven't seen that report. And I think
No.
right until we see it, I think it's a great project. But I don't know that that's the place either.
So I agree. I mean, we have Woodward and Curran, they still have to have a meeting so that we get their input on the plant. And, I mean, there's a possibility that we could make it so that cars come in one way and go out the other end of Filter Bed Road, but that's rebuilding all of Filter Bed Road. That's going to be an expense if we're going to do that. And there hasn't been any talk about the abutters and the neighbors. The abutters and the neighbors say that there's a lot of traffic that goes down through there, boats on trailers and a lot of things. And they have to be involved. There's going to have to be 1 or 2 public hearings and notifying the abutters so that we get their input, because it's going to change the condition of that neighborhood. That's going to change a lot. If all of a sudden you're bringing in all those people, even 30,000 people, it's going to be a lot. 100,000 would be unbelievable. So we're going to have to decide, you know, is it the best spot for it, or is there another location? It can't go on private land. The artist said he definitely does not like it on private land, because what happens is if it becomes very popular, people shut down their private land. And then his art sits and it's not viewed, and it doesn't get out to the public. So there's going to have to be a lot more information that comes to us so that we can determine if this site will work for us. And I wish Catherine Dragonfly was here so that she could maybe give us an update. So, board, anything else you want to do with this, or just kick it until, or we take and we?
I would just say that I make a motion at this point, we do not have sufficient information to give a decision on the use of the town land for the troll.
Okay. I'll second that.
And I'd like to see other locations also.
I'll add that in, and we would like to look at other locations, all right?
And I'll second that also.
Okay.
All right.
Vote.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. Any other business?
Brian, just a point of order. We do have the police commission chair as well as the chief here. Did you want to discuss?
That might be under any other business.
There you go.
There you are.
So I'm asking, does anybody have any other business? John, you
I have a little, two things for other business. And the first one tonight is, I don't know if you folks have been down to the Wolfeboro Falls and seen what Mr. Zimmerman has been creating down there at PZ Park. I think we all owe Mr. Zimmerman a debt of gratitude for beautifying our town. He's worked really, really hard. I think this is an amazing project that our town and our children, people are going to enjoy for the future. I know that there's ability to donate to the park if you want to help pay for some of the stuff down there. But I want to commend Mrs. Zimmerman tonight for his efforts in beautifying our community. Thank you, Paul. And my next item is, I wrote this last week, but I didn't get a chance to speak it. America celebrates 250 years since the Declaration of Independence. Independence, freedom, and liberty provided we the people the foundation for the nation to be here 250 years. Lives of sacrifice and the will of determination are still the fundamentals for greatness today. Pride of the place we call country unite us all together. Our greatest achievement collectively is ensuring future generations are given the opportunity of independence, freedom, and liberty that has been cherished for 250 years. God bless us all that our children's children will reflect back on the glory of a nation so precious to us all. Thank you.
Any other business? So, under other business, I would like to ask the board if the board would like to support the purchase of a police cruiser. The police department says that they have money in their budget and have a car available and would like to purchase another vehicle because they have lost 3 or 4 vehicles in the last year. The town did support them with warrant article to add 2, but they're still down 1 or 2 vehicles. We've done a lot of research into talking to the Department of Revenue and talking and looking at state RSAs. The select board and the police chief, we have the ability to move money in the budget to purchase a vehicle. It's a little gray because they don't have a line in their budget for vehicles, but they have a line in their budget for machinery. We did get a ruling from DRE that was sent to us. So I want to know if the board wants to have a discussion about that police cruiser or not tonight. John?
I would have a discussion about the police cruiser. I think what I wrote in an email was, when you only have so many vehicles and you spread that mileage across the whole fleet, and you only have so many vehicles, you use your vehicles up faster, which basically kills the vehicles that you have quicker. And if you have more vehicles, you can make them go longer. So essentially, if we don't try to catch up, then we're just going to lose more vehicles sooner, and it's going to snowball. The cost of new vehicles costs more every year. The cost of the vehicle is going to be cheaper this year than it is going to be next year. The safety of the officers has been paramount, because we know that when the vehicles exceed the safety of the officer's life, it's a problem. They got to take it off the road. And who knows what other vehicles are not far from behind the one that they just took off the road. So I did a little research. I did see in a research item that detail money could be used and applied to this item, but that's not for me to decide. But I do support moving ahead with the purchase of this vehicle. Last year was a different story. No meant no. And this year, to me, yes meant yes. And I think this is a pretty critical moment that we have to accept with the need.
Linda?
Yeah, there were two RSAs that I had issues with. First thing I did is went to my books and everything, and it pointed out 3210. It was talking about the transfer of funds, you know, who had control over the police budget in order to do those controls. My understanding, it's a gray area, so either the police commission or the board of selectmen could make that transfer. The other one that bothered me was 32.8. It said no spending without an appropriation, and I was trying to figure out whether the mechanics, machines in the police budget would allow for a cruiser, because we had put the other two cruisers out in warrant articles. I could not get anybody, and any place I looked, that would define what an appropriation, or whether you could put whether a car fit as a machine in a police budget. Since this is a gray area, whether we, the Board of Selectmen, have control or not, my feeling is let's send it back to the police commission. I think they've made their decision, and let them go forward with what they believe is best for their department, and we as the Board of Selectmen step out. Because I couldn't find anything that gave me good direction one way or another.
Dave? Anything?
No.
So when I did the research, I found the same thing that Linda found. It's, in some towns, their budget lists vehicles, machinery, and equipment all in one line. If their line had said that, it would have been easy like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about not wanting them to have a car or not. It's about, we need transparency. The public needs to know that we and the police commission and the chief are having this done, because we don't want the community to say, where did this new car come from? So we want to have that, and we want to make sure that we follow state RSA and regulations from DRA. If we don't do that, then we're not doing our job.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I found, I talked to the New Hampshire Municipal Association twice, and Linda had the chief reach out to DRA.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we can do, but we need to do a cleaner job of it next time. If we're going to continue this path, maybe they need to have their line item be machinery, equipment, and vehicles. And then that would make it so that it would be an easier ask and an easier process. That's all. So I'm looking for a motion.
I would just leave it up to them, leave it as is. They have made their decision. I see nothing in the research I've done that would make me step into and do anything with the decision they've already made.
Okay, so be it. All done.
Send it back to the commission.
So send it back to the commission, and if they want, they can purchase a car.
Yep. But I think it's right. We had to do our due diligence, and I'm comfortable that we did that.
The only other thing I have under other business is I would like to leave open, in case we do need a person from the Libby Museum Preservation Society to assist with the appraisal of the artifacts in the museum. We're still talking with Barry, trying to make sure that we have a town employee to help, but I would like to leave it open in case we need another person, if they're willing for us to go to them. I also want to thank the people for coming forward with regard to the water testing on the dock. We need transparency in the town from elected officials and from the citizens. We're all in this together. Believe it or not, I live in town. I'm a citizen in town. I've paid taxes for many, many years. I raised my 2 children here. Any decision that I make, do I want to raise my own taxes? Do I want to drink dirty water? Do I want to swim in a lake with problems? Of course not. Sometimes it seems like I'm getting vilified for working for the town in an elected position, and people like to attack us and call us names. And to me, that's not what we're here for. I live here. I love this town. I love this town as much as anybody I know. And not every decision is going to make every person happy. Half the people like pepperoni pizza, half the people like cheese pizza. That's the way it is. You're not always going to make everybody happy. But I hope that people understand that this board, this entire board, no matter how they come at issues, we all have good intentions. Nobody is trying to be malicious. Nobody is trying to besmirch or hurt any individual. I don't think so. That's just my take on it. So I'm glad that we know. And this isn't an issue at the town docks. I mean, DES, when he was here, he wouldn't test puddles for us. He told us, no, there's going to be public input. So it's just the way it is. But I'm glad that there's complete transparency. And Suzanne, we can't take your $80.
So, Brian, so what's our course of action now that we've got the test? Are we going to continue to test the other sump well where sump pump water is coming out so that we have and that test be provided to us? It only takes 2 days to get the test results. Yeah. So if we continue to do repeated tests, and those tests should be, yes, somebody should video them in their action too, just like these people were accused of possibly not being above board.
Nobody accused them of being above board. What I said is we have to make sure that you do a test as it's supposed to be done so that it's statistically correct.
Okay, so we'll require, so I make the motion that we require video documentation of the test being taken at the end of this week and the following of next week, and that those tests be supplied to the board and the public on what the results are, so we can get a running test on what's going on down there. If we see a pattern, then we'll know something's not right. And if anybody wants to speak at the public input and they want to tell us what they think we should do moving forward, then I would listen to that also.
So one of the things I'd like to add to that is DES is going to come back and test the water in the lake at Dockside. They are going to do that. Puddles, they have no interest in. It's like, if we were worried about fecal matter and E. coli, or worried that it wasn't in the lake ever, I mean, we wouldn't have a treatment plant. That's just the nature of life. There's going to be E. coli and fecal matter, specifically in standing water. You could go to any puddle and find it. So I don't know if testing that puddle proves absolutely anything. We could go right out here to Smith River and test that water. It's going to have E. coli. It's going to have fecal matter. That's why we have a treatment plant. We don't drink out of the lake.
So my recommended test would be in the drain where all the water's coming out of the ground, because basically, if you know what that sewer line is and what we've heard. We know that the sewer line...
It's not a sewer line. You cannot...
Look, I'd like to finish.
Okay.
There's a sewer line that runs down South Main Street. We've heard that the sewer line isn't 100%, and we know that that sewer line at peak capacity moves 1,400 gallons a minute. Now, if that sewer line is compromised slightly, and you have a high water table, it can go through the ground, and it can be picked up by a sump pump in a basement, and it can be moved through the water that way. And I'm not saying that that's what it is, but I'm saying it's a real possibility. And if somebody wants to disprove that, then I welcome that. But we do know that we've been told our sewer line needs to be replaced because it's not in good condition.
Go ahead, Linda.
Yeah, a couple things. One, John, I'm not understanding exactly where you're going to do the test. Are you saying we're going to take off the top of the grid of the, I guess it's a catch basin where the water was coming up, and we're going to test in there? Or are you wanting us to go back to where the sump pump is dumping in to the first grade by the Avery building? I don't know where.
I would do where it comes into the first pit where it's being pumped out of the building, and you can see it running into it's like a 6-inch steel well casing right there.
Okay,
and then
so
that
that's
6-inch steel well casing goes to the other pit where the other, in the middle of the parking lot, you can look down and you can just see a light bit of turbulence with the dust on top.
That's why I'm asking
Yeah.
you exactly which one. I
Yeah.
wasn't.
And then that goes over to where the Blue Ghost is.
And to me, DES coming and testing Wolfeboro Bay, I think that's very important, because that also tells us what the conditions of Wolfeboro Bay is, the water.
But
there,
that-
by those things. And they want to come back and do that. I think that's great. You know, you start using the word sewage. There is not sewage going in. There may be some water coming out of the pipe, and that has filtered through the ground.
That's correct. We
So it's, my issue is with the word sewage, not that we need to test to see what it's like, because people hear sewage and they think raw sewage is coming out, and I don't believe that's what we got.
I didn't say that there was raw sewage.
I just said-
When it's in the ground and you have pipes in the ground and you're moving 1,400 gallons a minute at peak, there's pressure behind that, like our water tower pushes our water into our system. So when you have all that amount of capacity or whatever's filling the pipe, it has to move, and when the least path of resistance is a crack in a pipe or something, it's going to come out. And when you have your water table that's very low and that building's up to its brim in water and they're pumping it out, go down there and watch that sump pump cycle.
I don't have any problem if we want to test what's coming out of that building. No
Yeah.
problem at all. I also want to point out to the citizens and voters that we pay $200,000 to get that pipe designed, that we're going to have a project coming out in the next warrant article to fix that, and you're giving good reasons why to do it.
I mean,
We
I hope
folks support that one because
Yeah.
it's an
No,
important, and
10 million?
we don't know the correlation. We don't, and it's still going to be tough.
Yeah.
Because you can go into any sump pump in any cellar, and you're going to get anaerobic water that's unoxygenated, and you're going to have matter that's not going to smell good, it's not going to taste good, it's not going to taste good. So that's going to be a tough one to tell you.
Yeah, there's going to be rat droppings and mouse droppings.
That's why
in
we
it.
have a treatment plant. We don't drink out of the lake, folks.
But that's not what our Public Works Director was telling us. He said we were in line to replace that sewer line that goes down through there, but the funding from the state is dried up. So and the reason, if it was fine, we wouldn't be talking about replacing the line. We would have just said, just repave the Main Street because everything is solid down there. But we know that that's not the case, because we wouldn't be seeking funding for the sewer line if that was the case. And I'm not saying that there's sewer being pumped into the lake down there. That's not the case. But I'm saying it does add a critical area where we should be completely solvent with the pipe that's down there, so we can ensure there is no leakage out of that pipe.
And I think that's why it's so important the DES test the water. That's where it ends up, and that is really where we need to know for sure
So,
the effect on our water body.
And let's look at reality. We've had 2 different sewer systems installed in downtown. One in the 30s, one in the 70s. The first one lasted 40 years. This one's over 40 years old. Before that, we dumped everything direct into the lake. or into the ground around the buildings. So I'm pretty sure that if you go underneath the city of Boston, that they have leaky sewers and they have contaminated soil. Under the city of New York, they have the same thing. Under probably almost any city in New Hampshire, it's the same thing. Human existence creates water issues, can create sewer issues. It is going to be $10 million to replace it, and we need to do it, and we need to do it this year. I hope that when we do it, we're supported by the public, because their taxes are going to go up. But if it's for the better cause of the community, sometimes that's what has to happen. It is what it is. And I hope that we're supported by the community and this board supports this. And it will help out that whole area. Absolutely. That was the plan. That's why we raised $200,000 last year. That's why we've done engineering for it. So.
It's a good conversation.
Yeah.
It's a good conversation.
Next. So next is our town manager's report.
So for me, and I'd like to thank Amy and Michelle down in the town manager's office for all their assistance in the budget prep. I may have pumped it out, but they did a lot of the legwork with that. So that's what we've been focusing on the last week to 10 days. Yeah, onward. Let's get that out. And I'm trying to clean up the open items on my desk so I can leave the place in hopefully in a better place and move on. Thank you.
Committee reports. Dave?
I had one meeting with the Conservation Commission, along with meetings with all the rest of you in reference to the town manager interviews. So we spent a lot of time with that.
John or Linda? Committee reports?
No, just our meetings together.
Yeah, I have a bunch of them. I met at the community center with a quilter who was trying to decide whether they should form a 501c3, become the Friends of the Firehouse Community Center. I met with a subcommittee of Wolfeboro Waters. It's really a working group on septic regulations. We met with the town planner to get his input. I went to the DRA dedication on July 7th, up at the dedication of their 200-year plaque. On July 2nd, I was down here with the Heritage Commission with the bell ringing to celebrate our independence, and both of those, Brian was there also. I had two community TV meetings, one related to the governance committee and the other one, the board took Christy Kern of Brewster to look at the studio to talk about partnerships. I attended the chamber board meeting. First night Wolfeboro is meeting. We've just about have all of our entertainment booked, and we'll stop again and pick up again in September. I had a Wolfeboro Waters Assessment Committee meeting. That's a subcommittee of Wolfeboro Waters, and they're starting to talk about this kind of globby mat that is forming on the bottom of the lake. It's called benthic mats, and we're starting to put together what kind of information needs to get out to the public. We're going to wait for DES for some of their information, and then we're going to get more information out to the public. I want to say that I was thrilled with the water ski tournament this weekend. The place was packed. People were on both sides of the Bridge Falls Path watching these people jump 225 yards. Somebody went through the air. While we were watching, people could still use the Bridge Falls Path. And I want a special thanks to Park and Rec, who had taken the time to cut down the shrubs to a level that we all could see. They had done a wonderful job making the place look wonderful for the tournament, and I hope they come back. I think it was a win for everybody, and that's all I have.
And to add to that, Linda, the cleanup after it was phenomenal. They're replacing any scuffed dirt, grass, anything like that. The group, the water ski group, got together with volunteers. They cleaned up everything. Parks and Rec cleaned up everything. The trailer was a day late being removed because the gentleman who, or woman who was supposed to pick it up called out sick. And so it was a day late, but that was a phenomenal. I stopped for a few hours, and it was a phenomenal event. I was lucky enough to be asked by the Historical Society and by DAR to give 2 proclamations, one on the 2nd in front of the town hall for the bell ringing, and one on the 5th? 7th for the Revolutionary War Monument. They were, I'm very, very flattered that they chose me to give those proclamations, and they were, it was a great turnout at both events. I had a great 4th with my family and with the parade and fireworks and everything, and Wolfeboro shined again. And people loved our crosswalks, people from all over the town, the state and out of state. And we really, when we pull together, we really do good things. So, and now we have questions from the press. Anybody on, Barry?
I have Mary DeVries on here. Mary, are you, can you hear me, Mary? Her mic's on, she's not responding. Okay. Now I have Derek Brown, looks like you would like to say something. Derek, you there?
He's not the press.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. First time over. Thank you, Derek Brown. Couple of items.
If you can speak up.
Sure, couple of items. How's that?
Better.
Better?
Better.
Okay, great, thank you. Derek Brown, Libby Street. I'd like to address a couple of Brian's concerns, Chase concerns about the procedure in his question. I was more than willing on the night of July 1st to answer all those questions on the procedural details as to how that was done. Specific to you, Mr. Muccio, the sampling was not taken from the puddle for the obvious reasons you mentioned. It was down in the flowing water, deep in the pipe. Number one. Number two, I talked to DES specifically about our test result, and they said it was irrelevant to have the personal information noted in the test. It's a valid test from the State Approved Agency of Eurofins. So there was no reason to have that public. Specific to that point, there's something the board should read up on. It's called the Whistleblower Act. It is a law protecting citizens from harm or backlash from reporting a problem. My intent of the redaction of the person's personal information was to protect that person, to make other townspeople aware if they see a problem, report a problem. Don't be scared to report a problem. That's where the board has failed. The last item is 2 particular terms. One is called doxing. Mr. Deshays needs to become intimately familiar with that word, who has violated laws that surround the use of that term. Secondly, Mr. O'Brien, I want to address that specifically to the public. On the morning of July 4th, as Suzanne mentioned, someone reported to her. Mr. O'Brien came up to me and tried to pressure me into saying the public would not have access to this report without the unredacted information. I consider that report does not exist. I've had witnesses to that. That is unacceptable behavior from the select board chair. So the point of the vice chair and the select chair time to review your code of conduct. Everybody have a great night.
Okay, public input has just started. Anybody else for public input?
Jeff Owings, I just want to add some clarification.
Can you pull the mic towards you more?
Is it on?
It should be, but
Pull it up.
pull it up.
Pull the whole thing towards you.
Yeah,
Too short.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
I had, during the last couple hours, I've had time to read over Steve's memo on the samples taken at the dock. And he said Mr. Livingston shared the NHDES policy of not sampling puddles. We didn't sample a puddle. We sampled 1 foot underneath the grate. There were 3 conditions we looked at. The puddle, which we rejected because the cars go through it. There's also still water under the grate, 1 foot down. There's also movement in the water when Avery Building or some other building sump pump goes off. We chose to sample the still water 1 foot under the grate, not what this memo says.
A few points of clarification. That was one I wanted to mention to Barry, that we didn't sample the puddle. We sampled below the grate. And the video that I texted to you, which should be in your phone, shows that. Okay.
Yeah,
But
puddle, grate.
regardless.
Catch basin, yeah.
I'd like to go through, give me a couple of minutes to go through the history, okay? We had a problem with what's known as the pipe under the dock, okay? It was investigated, and it was reported by Mr. Randall, and I think David Senecal as well, that they put in dye packs and isolated that what was coming out of the pipe was coming from the sump pump. Okay, we all accepted that. And the cure was to take the sump pump and plumb it into the sewer line so that it couldn't get out into the drain. And we were told it was fixed, it was done, it was all great. And I came up here twice and I said, until you find the source of the contamination, you will not have solved the problem. And I said that 2 times. And what I also said at the time was, my fear is that you have a leak in your sewer line, it's getting into the groundwater, if that was the accurate way of doing it, and it's getting into the sumps, and it's getting pumped into the drainage system. Now, I asked, where does the drainage system go? Because I was told that the drainage system is not to go into the lake unless it has been treated. Can't have raw drainage or runoff, water runoff, go into the drainage systems and get pumped into the lake or dumped into the lake. I find out that that is not correct. If you have runoff, it goes directly into the lake. So now we have another problem. Now we have another issue where I think what happened was that the pipe under the dock was blocked off so that, as they said, the problem is solved. It can't ever get anything out of that pipe. So what happens? We get a lot of rain, we get a lot of stormwater runoff. We get pumping from the pump out from the Avery building, and it's backing up the stormwater drain, and the water floods into the parking lot. So that's what started the whole thing. There's water in the parking lot. And then the water from the parking lot, when it gets high enough, it actually drains down the boat ramp into the lake. So that was a concern. But then I found out it doesn't matter because there's another drain outlet near the Blue Ghost, the mailboat, and all the water's going in there anyway. So we decided to think about, we had asked DES. There was a complaint to DES, and they essentially did not investigate anything. So the memo that's been put out that they investigated and they said it was fine, did not really happen. So it was decided that maybe we should do this, take a test, and see what we found. If it was nothing, we would have said nothing. So that's the test report that's been reported. Okay, so there is kind of a history. This is the same problem that you had when you had the water under the pipe under the dock. You are pumping contaminated groundwater into the drainage system, or not you personally, but it's getting pumped into the drainage system, and it's ending up in the lake. And Brian, I got to tell you, I love this town just as much as you, and I love the clean water even more than you. And the reason we're doing this is not to embarrass anybody here, not to call anybody out, but merely to bring attention to it. And let's see if we can get it rectified. And the last time I was here when this was brought up, I said, and you can even look at the tape, I said, I suggest that what you do, you take that block of buildings, go down there, and anyone that has a sump pump, plumb it into the sewer system. That'll buy you some time. Buy a little time until you get the thing rectified. And by rectified, what I'm talking about is, Mr. Randall was here, and he was talking about the sewer system, and he had mentioned, he said, well, one of the problems with the sewer line is that we get a lot of groundwater ingress. And then, it's like a light went off in my head. Well, wait a minute, if you can get water in, you can get water out. Okay? It's not a one-way street. So if you have enough leakage into the system where you can get groundwater in, and you've got sewage effluent in the pipe flowing out at pressure, it's going to come out of the pipe. Where's it going to go? In the groundwater. Going to go in the ground, going to contaminate the groundwater. The groundwater is going to rise, going to go into the sump, boom, going to get ejected into the drain system. Where's the drain system go? Into the lake. Therefore, our concern. We're not trying to screw anybody over. I'm trying not to get sick. I use the lake too. So, think about it that way. Yes, we're not trying to screw anybody. We are very concerned citizens. We're not trying to put anybody in a bind. Because you know what? We put you in a bind, we put ourselves in a bind. Anybody who's got half a brain understands that if we screw the town over, we're going to pay the bill. Come on. Thanks.
Thank you.
On that note, Hannah Seibel, resident of Wolfeboro, it's my understanding that a large portion of the economic state of this town relies on the summer season. People come to this town to be on the lake. And if this gets out, that's really going to negatively impact the town of Wolfeboro. And also, on a second matter, forgive me if I'm mistaken, but I don't recall hearing from Ms. Amy Capone-Muccio the penalties for being non-compliant with 91A requests. I don't believe that she actually answered that question. Is the board aware of those, as they are other sections of the RSA 91A, specifically 7 violations and 8 remedies? Okay.
Okay. Public input's done. Do we have a need for non-public, Barry?
We don't this evening.
Okay. So then I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.